Ah, where am I? Here I am. Bonsoir. Hello. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Friday. Hello, Rando. Hello, Program of Use. What in the... Hold on. What part of the rule in my chat that says keep the chat in English? It was not clear. But anyways. Hello, Fever. Hello, Rando. Hello, Sly. Hello, Elsie. Hello, Hurricane. Hello, Mukia. Hello, Worker. Hello, Kinji. Puppet Brawn. Oh my god, it's Puppet Brawn. It's been so long. Hi, I'm Puppet Brawn. I'm here. I'm finally here. Well, Puppet Brawn, what do you think about reading and writing? I love reading and writing. Yeah! Imagine losing your model for a split second. Where? I provide a translation? Where? Y'all ever be writing a character for that you're proud of and you watch a video and good writing and see your character check all those boxes? Feels good? Mm-hmm. There's a pop waiting to happen in my neck that's really bothering me, but it's too stubborn so I can't get it without risky popping my spine. Yeesh. Do things responsibly. I did it. I can do it. Yes, you can, and you did it. You've redeemed Puppet Brawn. Congratulations. Great job! I appreciate you. Isn't that right, Puppet Brawn? Yeah! Love that guy. Are we reading our writings today? Yes, this is correct. Anyways, let me go ahead and put it on the screen. Program of Use, you're up first, actually. Let's not dilly-dally. Sorry I'm a bit late to starting stream, by the way. I was eating dinner. I had to fit that all in within about 10 minutes. I had udon soup and cheese pizza. So, you know. My goodness, you sent quite the...
Hi Bron. Sorry, you scared me. Translation. Hebron.
Thank you. Anyways, Zoom. Oh my goodness, it's too blurry. I can't read it. Well, what if I did this? There's gotta be another way to read this thing. Okay, there is a way. There is in fact a way to read this thing. Pizza. Where are the pixels? Udon, cheese pizza? No, udon soup. Alright, hold on. I can fix this. Okay. Not to worry. Aha! Thank you, MSP, for allowing me to read this. They stole my pixels. Now I'm gonna starve. No, I'm gonna starve. Even cheap pizza's good? Mm-hmm. Pizza. Where are the pixels? You forgot to download it straight? You only download the Discord shrink version. I mean, yes, this is the straight download version. I normally only open the Discord version of it. But anyways, it's time to resurrect the ancient techniques our ancestors used to learn tech from 360p Japanese videos. Goodbye, Puppet Brawn. Hi, Jazz. Good to see you. Welcome in. All right. Wow, Puppet Brawn only appears for 3 minutes. That means 1,000 points per minute for Puppet Brawn. Shinka Semantics, hello. Welcome in. I know how to click the image, wait for it to fully load, and that works too. Yes, this works too. I have my ways. Oh, he's back. I've been revived. Good job, Puppet Brawn. Make it 6 minutes. Thank you. You have given life to me. Shoutouts to, hold on. I forgot. I'm so nervous. It's my first time someone actually reads one of my things. Don't worry. Nothing to be nervous about. I'm sure you're going to do great. I don't know why I'm blanking just now. Hold on a second. Puppet Brawn, I need you to help me remember something. Yeah, what is it? The same person who rigged this bird is also the person who put you together. That's right. Well, do you happen to remember their username? Because I just had a big brain fart because of the pizza.
That's true, you fat ass.
What? I didn't teach him that.
Yes, you did.
Oh my god. This is terrible. How could this have happened? Incurry? Yes, it's Incurry. How did you know? Did you scroll down on my about page? Thank you. I don't know why. I was forgetting the other half of their name. I was like, Inky. Like, Ink is the first part. I don't know why I remembered Incurry. We're a bad influence on him. I didn't know you knew Incurry. I do miss him. Yay. You got this, big gamer. I'm also high on a lot of caffeine, so that doesn't help the anxiety. The bird is rigged, explains why he always loses. The game was rigged from the start. No, I meant that he has the same physics as an anime boob. At any rate.
Wee!
That's right, Puppet Braun. Anyways, shall we read the thing on the screen? By the way, for those of you who forgot, this week's prompt was hand-me-downs as the weekly prompt. Booby ass bird, it's true. Program of uses, cool comic idea. Need a name, to be honest. General world building. In this world, in the year 22 something, it is discovered that magic is in fact a thing that people can become
Ron,
sorcerers.
Yam a boob be sure, flying high and free.
This has been no knowledge, thank you. People can become sorcerers, however, it is incredibly rare, either requiring decades of dedication just to understand it, extreme mental distress and trauma, or just being born lucky. With the coming of sorcerers, an organization was made to move sorcerers about depending on their strength, the need of protection in an area, and the likelihood of a threat appearing. Many of the internals of this organization were forced into being more better and less corrupt by the arm twisting of Uli. Magic system, there is no mana pool, there is magic everywhere, and people work as conduits for magic. So one's strength or power comes from both their creativity, implementation, and understanding of magic. There are common spells that most learn, such as Thunder Arrow, Ice Snare, Flare Burst, Body Amplification, etc. There are also specific spells called specialty spells, based off a person's personal understanding of magic. They can be learned by others, but it is incredibly difficult to do so. Current character list: Cirque, main protagonist. She is also the first main character we see. She is a forced optimist where she will try to only show cheerful emotions and looking for the bright side, no matter the situation, even when it is wildly inappropriate. She holds a deep care for trying to make the world more functional, usually by trying to make people more content or happy with life, trying to be a sort of symbol of endurance and tenacity for others. Her specialty spell is Golden Grass, where a light yellow mold will slowly spread across the battlefield as the fight goes on, and if she stands in it, she gains an enormous boost to practically everything. A major plot point will happen halfway through the story. Kienska, a side protagonist, a veteran sorcerer sent to apprehend and teach Cirque when she first becomes a sorcerer. Being someone that some describe as simple, as she doesn't try to espouse a single belief or philosophy, rather accepting that she needs to grow her definition of good, as she cannot possibly know the truth yet. Sort of like Socrates. Her specialty skill is a formless gray blob that takes on different properties based off the emotions of nearby people, such as becoming a sticky fire when near angry people, or a concussively explosive water when near desperate and terrified people. She starts as a sort of unimportant character, but rapidly takes a more central role after Cirque's massive event. Uli, certified strongest character. She appears later in the story, but her importance is talked about a bit before then, as she played the main role in a lot of different plot points with the organization and governments around the world. An apathetic absurdist, she really struggles with caring about much, especially more human-made things like legality or decorum, rather having a personal code called Sanctity of Sapience, where she believes that anything in existence that shows clear signs of deeper thinking and self-actualization must be shown kindness, forgiveness, mercy, love, and assistance, even if their past self was awful, as the greatest pillar of sapience is the ability to overcome one's fundamental natural nature. I remember you mentioning this last week. Her specialty spell is Divine Enchantment, where she can imbue an object with immunity to anyone else's spells, as well as many other attributes she wants to give the object. However, she almost never uses this spell, preferring to just constantly dump her body with enhancements and other basic simple spells, using them in incredibly creative and adaptable ways to overwhelm foes. She also uses a technique of enhanced senses where she can easily sense both anything magically as well as anything physical near her, including changes in electrical or magnetic. She is also known to refuse using most healing spells, only using stem cell creation to regenerate as she feels healing spells regrows fake limbs she cannot recognize. She is also an earless, but that will be explained later. Umlat, a minor villain at first. An apathetic nihilist who believes that there is no meaning or reason to anything, and we should just do as the only thing stopping us are fake rules we made up. Not an egoist, because she also thinks she doesn't matter like everything else. She mostly goes through the story as a random threat that just pops up, then leaves whenever she wants. But that whole uncaring attitude quickly spirals out of control with her as she continues doing things. Her specialty spells is at first a type of nullification that slowly weakens something to chemical and magical process, but later changes to bisection, where she wraps dimensions to split something. It is horrifying as it literally ignores everything, strength, spells, and more, as it isn't an attack and doesn't target anything. It is just literally warping the location of something. Healing spells do not work on its wounds either, as technically there is nothing to heal, as all that happened was that you moved, so only generation or malleable flesh can undo the damage. Umlat is also earless, people born without ears. These are all feline furries, by the way, too lazy to draw humans. And there was millennia of superstition that they brought calamity, so were often hunted or abused into being perfect citizens or even slave soldiers, meant to fight the calamity they'll cause. And though it was disproven, the cultural stigma still heavily influences their lives. Milena, I'm gonna make this quick because, geez, I wrote a lot. Villain, or Villian. Nietzschean who wants to make people better through trials. Very merciful and spares multiple characters. Follows Umlat for a bit before fighting her. Specialty spell is that she spawns balls with different properties, such as spawning a lot of bouncy balls that increase in power per bounce, or a really big heavy ball that rolls towards heat. Probably will have a sadder moment than Cirque. Wasn't proofread, so sorry for mistakes. All good. I like this cat you drew, by the way. Remind me in 45 minutes. Where? Disclaimer was not proofread. Also forgot the topic. That's all right. I quickly figured that out. I will say once again as a reminder that if you have a thing that doesn't match the current week's theme, you can always save it for the end of the month, which is a general showcase. Anything goes for people. I'm sorry, I typed too slow. Muscle magic. Shoutouts to Mashal. The chaotic lawful character we talked about last Friday, so hedonist, I guess. That's a neat application of teleportation spell, actually. You know what it reminds me of? Hold on. Reminds me of, where is it? I have it here. This card. Yeah, it was this card from Magic the Gathering. So if we pull this up here. This is a card from Magic the Gathering, the card game. It's called Dispatch, and I love the flavor text. Venser wondered if it could still be called a teleportation spell if the destination is Oblivion. Sorry, all good. I enjoyed it actually. I like your brain for world building. You seem to have a very strong idea of what you want to do, but you don't have quite the direction yet. Or maybe you do, it's just that you haven't quite cobbled together the plot and how to connect everything. You know, I don't know yet. But otherwise, the world building is fun. I like the magic system. I think the characters have a lot of potential. Let's see. Let me double check something to make sure. Because I'm pretty sure you didn't ask for critique. Or no, you did. Never mind. You did. You wanted critique. Some character designs drawn. I don't know if to share it here or not. You can if you want to. It's up to you. But you don't really have to. Now that I've read your thing, though, I can talk about it a little bit, which I think the characters are interesting. I think that I am interested in seeing more of their motivations and how exactly their roles in the world work, right? What's it called? Not caste system, but the racial prejudice of earless versus non-earless is always interesting in fantasy settings. I can see this being something like kind of akin to a battle manga type shonen, right? It seems that most of the characters depicted on here are all women. I could be wrong about that, but that's based on what I just read, I feel that is the case. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way, just something I noticed. Anything else? Overall, I'm looking forward to see how this shapes up. World building is a lot of fun. The hard part is actually getting into the nitty-gritty of writing things out. I mostly need characters and general plot, only got the final act known. Right, it's one of those types of writing styles where like you have this really, really good idea of, the scene in your head. And then after that, it's a matter of how do I get there? How do I write everything up to that point, right? My advice is write out the scene first. Write the scene you really, really want to write first. Doesn't matter what the backstories are, doesn't matter anything else. Just write it out, right? You can always fix it later. And then from there, you can figure out what you want to write next, whether that's the scene that came before, the scene that came after. Just build from there, right? A lot of people have this notion that they have to start from point A and get to point B, right? They have to start in the beginning and then write their way towards the end. And that's not always the case that's going to work for you. Sometimes it's more fun to just write the thing you want to write first. Took a lot of influence from Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, they're mostly women because most stories I've read are a majority men. That's true, and I appreciate that. Depends on the animes, though. Sometimes animes are very much filled with, like, a majority female cast. Shoutouts to, what's it called? Shoutouts to, Love Live. Non-linear storytelling. Not necessarily. It can still be linear, but the way it's written is non-linear. As in, your process of writing the story, right, before you make it all cohesive and, what's the word? From beginning to end, the way you write it is in parts, right? Like, some authors write from beginning to end, and some authors will write starting with scenes in the middle, and then write around, jumping from scene to scene, depending on what they find interesting, until they put it all together, right? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna organize each part and then put them in the right order. Of course, there's nothing that says you have to put them in chronological order. Sometimes you can jump around. Sometimes you can have a flashback. Sometimes you can start in media res, and it works. In terms of what I was thinking of, by the way, funny enough, well, I've been reading a lot of Kagurabachi, I should say. I've been reading it weekly, and the thing about sorcerers is that it reminds me of that because there's sorcerers in that, and they all have very specific specialties. But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen is also fun. As much flack as people give mainline shonen animes and all that, if they inspire people to create and just do cool things, I have no complaints. In fact, I think that JJK is actually really fun to watch. I only watched the first season. I didn't get around to watching the other ones, but from what my brother says, if you turn your brain off and just watch like you're watching JoJo or something, just have a good time, and it'll be fun. It would be really funny if a story was just written with the chapters scrambled chronologically. It would be a very interesting exercise in putting together a story in a mysterious chronological order. My starting point in writing is finding story beats I really want, making character for that, and then finding out how to best make them fit in the story. Yeah, exactly. So, multiple ways to make it work. Do what is fun for you. And then after that, improve your craft as you go. Once again, I need to put this out there. If you wish to create, better, you must consume more. All right, if you want to be a better writer, you got to read more, right? Because if you want to make something, you have to go and look at what other people have made. Because, sure, you can try and reinvent the wheel, right? But why do that when you can watch and learn how other people have already shaped their wheels so that you learn how to shape your own without having to do all the extra effort? Sure, there's merit in doing that, and if you find that fun, go for it, right? You'll actually learn more in the process of learning how to put together your quote-unquote wheel, right? Reinventing it yourself helps you understand the craft closer, makes you appreciate all the steps, really hones your sense for it, I would say. But more importantly, I would say reading gives you a better internal compass for what seems right, if that makes sense. Whether that's story beats, direction, and production, or even the more mechanical things like grammar and spelling, right? I heard of writers who take the idea and create the end first, especially in plotting, and then walk backwards, but actually write from the beginning. System works for me really well. Yeah, like I said. Ain't that just the House of Leaves or something? No, actually. Not necessarily. House of Leaves, by the way, Hunter, is a frame story. A frame story is when you have a story within a story. Other examples of this are, what's it called? Frankenstein and what's it called? 1001 Nights. You know, the Arabian Nights, because that one is about Sherazad telling the story to a king every night, and then certain stories have stories within those stories, which is why it's called a frame narrative. I turn my brain on and feel rewarded because the characters start to feel more stressed and dynamic. Yeah. For me, I just create a character backstory that I find fun or interesting, then I just work the story around them and the other characters I made. There are multiple ways to approach it. Some people start with the plot, some people start with the background, some people start with characters. I remember there's a very useful thing I remember looking at. I think I have it here. Oh yeah, here we go. I saw this on Twitter the other day and I thought, this is really good advice. So let me go and pull this up for you guys. So this is from a talk that the South Park creators gave about storytelling.
We can take these beats, which are basically the beats of your outline, and if the words "and then" belong between those beats, you're f***ed, basically. You got something pretty boring. What should happen between every beat that you've written down is either the word "therefore" or "but," right? So what I'm saying is that you come up with an idea and it's like, okay, this happens, right? And then this happens. No. It should be this happens, and therefore this happens. But this happens, therefore this happens. And that, as soon as we are able to, and literally sometimes we'll write it out to make sure we're doing it. We'll have our beats and we'll say, okay, this happened, but then this happens, and that affects this, and that does to that, and that's why you get a show that feels like, okay, this to that, to this to that, but this, here's the complication, to that. And there's so many scripts we read from new writers and things that we see.
God, I see movies.
And
You see movies that you're just watching. It's like this happened, and then this happens, and then this happens. That's when you're in a movie, just going, "What the f am I watching this movie for?" Just like this happened, and then this happened, and this happened. That's not a movie, you know. That's not a story. Like Trey said, it's those two, but because therefore, that gives you the causation between each beat, and that makes.
Oh. Hi, Murdoch. Welcome in. Going down to South Park, I'm gonna have myself a time. Hi, X Digital. Your name is a different color. But hello, welcome in. All right. So I think that the lesson on causality here, yeah, that can stay up there. I think the lesson on causality here is an important one when it comes to writing, right? Because I've seen a lot of stories, especially when I see new animes or mangas come out, and well, not animes, but let's say mangas, right? They get cut or axed, as people say, from the roster of mangas pretty quickly. And normally because it has a really good start. But then after that, stuff just kind of happens and you don't really know why, you know? Friendly faces everywhere, humble folks without temptation. Currently, though, my most interesting character is Umlat because she has a lot of personality you almost never see in media. For me, I just create a character backstory that I find fun or interesting, then I just work the story around the other characters I made. Oh, yeah, I already read that. Yeah, by the way, in terms of interesting characters, if you wonder whether or not that type of character exists already, you can always look up TV Tropes as a resource, because that website has a lot of records on the different types of tropes that have come up in different forms of media. As a result, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are, doing anything wrong if you happen to match a trope. That just means that you have something to work off of because someone else helped to lay the foundation work before you, right? Which can help give you inspiration as to what to do afterwards. Either that, or you could just stick to what you're doing, which is just instinctually what happens next, right? Also, hello, Kata. Thank you for coming in. God damn, we're reading already? The one day we don't fall off or don't faff for about 45 minutes. I know, right? Isn't a frame story where somebody gets falsely accused and you must prove their innocence? No, that's framed with a D. It's both fun and tedious, learning the established practice of how something is done, because when you want to create something, you automatically want to do it how you want to do it. But learning how it's done first helps you and figure out how to better create it your way. You learn not just how, but the why of each step. Exactly, Elsie, you get it. It also allows you to break the rules in a way that makes your story still readable. Exactly, Hurricane. Well, I like to say this, right? You gotta learn the rules first before you learn how to break them, right? Or rather, you need to know the rules if you want to break the rules. And this happened. What the? I think that's what I think Chainsaw Man excelled at. It's always the but then manga excelled at. Exactly. Right? There's a manga I'm thinking of that isn't very good. I'll be honest with you. A lot of it, it's an and then this happens type of beat. I'm not sure if I should show it on stream. It's like 10, 12 chapters in. I don't know how I managed to keep up with it, but it sure is something. If you want to know, it's called The Trembling Right Hand or something like that. And the plot of it is about a manga artist who finds out that the writer behind the manga he's making is actually, so the manga is like called Tokyo Crime, and it's about the main character who goes around killing people as a revenge. But then the artist finds out that the writer has been literally killing people in serial murders as inspiration for his manga. And so this really results in a whole like rabbit hole of, am I doing the right thing? I'm getting so much money, but at the same time, this is morally wrong. All right, obviously, as the main character, he's kind of a good guy. And some other things happen, and he finds out that, like, oh, it's my inner circle of people I know that are the culprit. And so he has to figure it out, but things keep happening, and it's like, why is this happening? Like, suddenly, his wife leaves him and says, I'm actually working with the murderer. She leaves, like, why? Then, you know, someone else he knows is murdered, and because we don't really understand why. As inspiration for another murder, I guess. And then he finds out, like, oh, by the way, the daughter of this other guy you know is also the person working with you, and she is suddenly kidnapping someone, and you're like, what is going on? It's never really properly explained. Stuff just keeps happening. Whereas, let's compare that with Chainsaw Man, right? Chainsaw Man does have that kind of thing where, and then this happens, but it does it in a way that isn't, like, unwelcome. Like, I think there's a difference between a twist and just bad causation, if that makes sense, right? Occasionally, Chainsaw Man will just, like, do things, and you're just like, why is this happening? But the reason why it works is because it's a very advanced technique of where the framework you've provided for your story is already set to accommodate for random things, right? Your audience has an expectation, and you expect to have your expectations defied. And that's why Chainsaw Man works, right? It's very strange and very advanced. Not everyone can pull it off. Every possible character already exists somewhere, so just go for it. Yeah, right. I had a dream and wrote a story continuing from that dream, then started on writing a story that happens before then, decided I wanted to add a spin-off just because, and I have barely started. Well, now's a good time to start. TV tropes is a dangerous beast. I have lost many hours to it. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Just say solo leveling? It's not solo leveling. Hello, Grixt. Anyone know villains that go from forgettable road bumps but ends up killing like the most important characters with barely changing at all? It's rare to have villains that don't change. I think that villains that do change are more interesting. But forgettable road bump villains, rare that happens, but I get what you're saying. Simply entering situations where they end up killing the protags. I mean, that's rare that it happens too, where, you know, you're people. Actually, I guess the only time I've ever seen that kind of thing happen is Akame ga Kill, where it really is no bars held, or whatever you say, right? Well, however the saying goes, anybody can die. Nothing's off limits. Even the main character can die. And villains will come up and they're like, who the heck's this guy? Right? And they might just die instantly, or they might survive, and one of the main characters can die, and it's just like, what is going on? No holds barred. There it is. Thank you. A twist should be somewhat hinted at in a second read through. Shoutouts to Attack on Titan. That shit was insane. Then this devil appears, but then the character we like saves them. Therefore, Denji is depressed. See, therefore Denji's depressed is the important thing. Holy shit, Magic the Gathering. On my way home from the pre-release. Hey, how did you enjoy the Strixhaven archives? Or not archives, what is it? You know, new Strixhaven. Shigaraki? I don't know. Shigaraki is too important. You can't. That doesn't count. Hear me out. Plot armor. I mean, yes, but can I spoil a piece for this comic, or are y'all interested in reading it? You can spoil if you like. Think about whether or not telling us is going to help you write it, right? Or are you just saying that to see what the reaction is? There's a video I should show you guys. That reminds me of something. This is so the guy who made Super Smash Brothers, Masahiro Sakurai, in his off time decided to make an entire YouTube channel dedicated to talking about game development and work ethic stuff. This is one of the videos he put out, and I really do enjoy his channel. He put so much money and time and effort into this. Watch this. All right, this is called Keep Your Internal Pressure High.
もしあなたが企画書などゼロからスタートさせる何かを作り始めている場合、これは途中で絶対に人に話さないことを
For the people who are only listening, I'm gonna read out what he's saying, okay? Because there are subtitles, but I'm gonna read it out as well. We had to do one story first before doing the 45 minutes of faffing about, sure enough, but it's because we did the one story that we're faffing now. That's not a word I hear, by the way. Some people say waffling. Skyrim tunes, Distant Horizons from Skyrim. Ah, here it is. Hit us with it. The ladder to see if it would be a good scene. I see. I have a nasty habit of getting too excited over sharing. Here, you're a waffling. Yeah, all right. Here, listen. This might help you. Let's say you're creating something from scratch, like a project proposal or other document. My recommendation to you is this. Keep your lips sealed until it's finished. Hey, Lorian. Resist the desire to share and just keep on writing down what you have inside. I believe in a concept called internal pressure and utilize it myself. Think of it like the air that pushes outward to inflate a balloon. It's a pressure that tries to escape. Another appropriate example might be a pressure cooker. A proposal is something you need to inflate inside your mind. Not so much making it bigger, but increasing its power and making the content stronger. But simply discussing those ideas can make you feel fulfilled. In other words, by releasing pressure, the ideas in your mind lose their power. You can't afford to let that happen. Keep ramping up the pressure, giving strength to your proposals and ideas, and make things even denser and richer than they were before. Of course, when writing a proposal, you can also consult with people, solicit new ideas from them, and work together to figure out where the weak points are. You can also brainstorm or formulate ideas entirely as a group. Still, you need force when you're writing a proposal. You need to show how much you want it, and make sure your internal pressure is felt. Compared to a brainstorming session that you later compiled ideas from, a design document that you write without sharing a word to anyone will burn a good bit hotter, I'd say. If you need to consult with someone, try doing that after you finish the proposal. First, you should face inward to really hone ideas on your own. Oh, and the same concept can be applied to social media. Posting your ideas or progress on social media will vent your pressure, which you don't want. Endure the pressure and let it build and build. Put that energy into your work. I suggest you give it a try. I also recommend picturing how people might react when you later pitch your proposal. Doing so will help during development too, since imagining your players' reactions and what parts they might love will give you the strength to push on. I love Sakurai's work. It's so good. Based gatekeeping advice. What the hell? It's not gatekeeping, guys. Let's see here. Excuse me. Shigaraki is introduced early but gets silent for a bit and then comes back and becomes more important, right? In a way, yes, but he's definitely a main villain that needs to have more stuff fleshed out, I guess. But he does change over time, which is the difference. I won one game against the black-green deck the whole event. Nice. You had to do one story? No, I already read that. Great advice, but my animal brain loves sharing everything. Right, exactly. That's why it's hard to do, but it'll be worth it if you keep the internal pressure up. Who says I'm gatekeeping y'all from my shit? Oh, I'm gatekeeping my shit from... You're not gatekeeping. You're simply letting it cook first. That's why I keep all my 40k plus pieces to myself, clearly. Sure. That last fails on me as living with a really toxic family. All my ideas I gave were shit on. I think that it's important to find good support groups and recognize when people are supportive of you and when people might not be. That's not to say that you shouldn't, like, you should treat them poorly because they don't support you. That is to say that there are different groups for different things, right? I'm not going to talk to my regular friends about VTubing stuff because that would weird them out. Or not, I don't know, but I don't really want to talk to them about that. But I wouldn't talk to certain people about writing stuff because I know they would get bored really fast, right? I talk to certain friends about certain things. I'll talk to my gaming friends about gaming stuff, and I'll talk to my other friends about, like, nerd stuff, right? Whatever it is. Sometimes there's cases where you have friend groups that are cool with everything. Usually that's your inner circle because they're chill with everything you do. But for the most part, I have a lot of different things for different people, right? That's not a bad way to go about, too. I've come so far the past few days, about 14 and a half pages since I started rewriting. Nice. Good job, Shinka. Same, I totally just haven't forgotten to publish any of it. Oop. Imagining fans usually is bad because they imagine hate. I mean, ultimately, first do it for you, right? If you like it, enjoy it, that's a good thing. But eventually, once you start putting yourself out there, then it's a matter of, like, how do I make this thing good, right? And there's a certain extent where you're going to be able to judge it for yourself, and a point where you have to have someone else look at it because there are certain things that they're going to see that you won't. If there's hate, they ain't fans. What in the oxymoron? Then those aren't fans. Yeah, there you go. Same brain cell. Love me some Skyrim music. Hey, Garland. Thank you for the 7th stream streak. 1 whole week. There's space heaters at that point? Wow. I know, but just what I was shown in my formative years, yeah, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but I do hope that as you grow up, you learn to meet better people in your life. What did you just call me? You're more than your formative years. True. This is why Hunter has a Google Doc of ideas, all my lustrous ideas, and allude to the creations of being produced so that people know something is happening, but not enough that they already have their expectations set. Gets my fix of talking, but also then sets the idea that people are expecting a product eventually inwards and outwards pressure. I said you're a lovely human? Uh-huh. By the way, in case you guys are wondering, I have a 300-page Google Doc that I've kept for the last, like, 10 years, I want to say. And it's, like, over 300 pages of mostly poetry and other things. I do have the first 2 pages. Know anywhere to start sharing it? You can put it in the literature channel if you're in the Discord, because that's where just general stuff happens. The weekly prompt is more for specifically showing stuff on stream. But if you just want to share and see what people think, feel free to use the literature tab. Is gatekeeping the good stuff from us? No. It's just that I can't show you that because that's my personal pile. Anyways, so program of use, thank you for sharing your story. I look forward to seeing more from this if you decide to continue it, or something else if you would like to take a detour from it. Hopefully that helps. Alrighty. The next person we have on deck is Hurricane. Worker is after this, I believe. Oh, actually, no. It's not. Hold on. Worker... Actually, hold on. Let me pull up Workers. I forgot. This is after this. But there's another person here. Oh, it's Lemon Bop. But Lemon Bop isn't here yet, so we'll save that one for later. For now... This is Lemon Bop's. This is Hurricane, so we'll do Hurricanes next. That's not me. Word, right. I'll probably also throw in my most recent large product then as well. That's a me. Hey, King Cow, what's up? Sleep, good night, Grixed. It's me, actually, JK. Hey, Genmu. Welcome in. All right. So, once again, this week's theme was hand-me-downs. Let's see what Hurricane wrote here. After I drink some water. $3. I want my money. What? This serves also as a vague pilot for a larger story I was thinking of. Hope y'all well. Yeah. You know, this is my usual space for people who want to read and write, people who really want to exercise their creative muscles. Get a load of this guy drinking water. What, you don't? What are you, dehydrated? Chapped lips? Skin like a mummy? Sandpaper? Shit doesn't need electrolytes. It's what plants crave? Right, okay. A man steps into the tavern, the wooden floorboards creaking underneath his step. He pulls his bandana over his nose and pats some snow off his shoulder before sitting down at the bar on a rusty stool. What'll it be? The bartender asks, polishing an already clean glass. Just, something strong, the man says, looking to the side, trying to avoid meeting his gaze. On it, boss, he says before plopping the glass of amber liquid in front of him. He lowers his bandana and begins to take a sip. The second the liquid hits his lips, the doors bust open. Somebody's gotta help! The barn's on fire, townsfolk says loudly. He swallows his sip and looks to the side, finding that the expectant townsperson has approached him. If only there was a kind stranger who could help, they say, grinning wildly at the sight of the side of his face, their eyes covered by a hood. Good luck with that, he states, throwing a tip to the barman and trying to stand up. Aren't you gonna help? Why would I? Because, they stammer. You're the light bringer. You gotta. You have the wrong guy. He pulls the bandana over his nose again and steps outside into the village, the night and the stars illuminated by the burning barn. He walks over to his horse and runs his hand along its side, finding the satchel strapped near the saddle. He fumbles through it, pulling out a sword illuminated by firelight. Inscribed on it is some ancient text that he never got told what it read, but it probably mentioned him and his grandpa somehow. These types of things always do. He meanders slowly to the barn, yawning while the debris lands nearby him, cratering the ground and melting the snow at his feet. He walks over to a nearby lift meant for pulling hay to the top of it, and cuts the rope hanging the flaming bale of hay above his head. The counterweight slams to the floor as he holds onto the rope, flinging him through the top window. He tucks the blade to his chest and rolls forward on impact, the cattle soothed by his holy aura. He jumps down and opens the door, letting the cattle run out beside him, closing it behind him once he leaves. Sheathing his sword, he walks back to the bar, dusting ash off of his shoulder, finding an old man sitting near his seat. He sits down and grabs his glass again, untouched. Nice job, Lightbringer, the old man says sagely. Fuck off. He grips his glass firmly and takes a swig. I just wanted one night without this shit. The bartender leans back. Language, he warns, barely glancing up from his glass and rag. Hi, Rosu. Despite helping, you spit venom like no other, the old man laughs. If your grandfather could see you now. That's the issue. Can't. He slams the glass down to the table and walks out onto his horse. The old man follows out, grinning widely. He would be conflicted as he should hit you or hug you, he yells out into the night as the Lightbringer rides off to the next town, violently sobered up. He gallops along the dark forest path, muttering half a conversation to his horse, barely making it out of town when his horse whinnies in warning. What is it, girl? He asks before feeling a rock pelt him in the back of his chain shirt. Who the? He turns around and sighs heavily, dismounting his white steed and facing the rider on a dark horse as he approaches.
Isel luck, proud of everyone who submitted this week.
Headless, thank you for subscribing for 15 months. Wow, with Prime Gaming. As always, enjoy the emotes, the fact that you don't have to watch ads upon coming into the channel, and the fact that you farm channel points faster than the average person. Also, thank you for the Prime as well. You only get to give that to one person a month, so thank you for making that person me. Wow, proud of you, true. Anyways, what I walk into? Welcome to my reading and writing stream, Rosu, where I read people's Submitted works. Lurk, fine. Don't accept my Lurk Nightbot. Actually, Nightbot might be... What's it called? Oh, actually... Oh, I know why. It's because Genmu Lurk first still. There's a cooldown. Keep automatically typing wildly when I mean widely. You know, that's why it's worth reading through your work at least once before submitting it, in my opinion. Very cool and epic story. I believe we're reading and also writing. I could be wrong, though. Thought I was getting my ice cream. What did I miss? I don't know when you left, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'm currently reading Hurricane's work, though. Did not know that was connected to TTS. My apologies. All good. I mean, it would have been... Well, I would have gotten interrupted by the thing anyway, because, you know... It plays a little song. At any rate, back to what I was reading. He gallops along the dark forest path, muttering half a conversation to his horse, barely making it out of town when his horse whinnies in warning. What is it, girl? He asks, before feeling a rock pelt him in the back of his chain shirt. Who the... He turns around and sighs heavily, dismounting his white steed and facing the rider on a dark horse as he approaches. It trots forward, uncaring, the rider cloaked in shadow and wearing a hood. The Lightbringer rests his hand on his horse's back and stares, tiredly, at the figure. He hurls another pebble at him, and he dodges by barely moving his head out of the way, feeling it soar past his ear and hit the ground nearby. Nice dodge, as expected of the Lightbringer, the figure says in an overly dramatic voice. You have 5 seconds to tell me who you are, or I will punch you. He clenches his fist. He dismounts his horse and winds his arms up, dramatically flaring them in the air. I am Shadow, the bringer of darkness, the burner of barns, and to you, I am the... He feels a sudden stabbing of pain as the Lightbringer drives his fist deep into the stomach. He crumples to the ground as he rests his boot upon the top of his head. Let's try that again. Who are you? I am the Darkbringer, your nemesis. He drives his boot into the top of his head, causing him to wince. I have no other name you need to know, he yells, hoping for him to stop. He pulls his boot off of the Darkbringer's skull and sighs heavily. What do you want? Only for you to know that it was I who burnt that barn. He holds back a chuckle and fails slightly. That's it? I witnessed you save those animals, hero. He spits the last word out with venom. You still have the wrong guy, he says, feeling the weight of his eye bags grow. You say that, yet you still save them, hero. Cut that shit, he demands. Maybe I just knew it was you from the start. I was just messing with you. How self-diminuting. This was just a warm-up. That village will be gone by the end of the month. Go for it. He raises his hands above his head casually and turns around. Really? Like I give a shit. But you're the Lightbringer. My grandpa was the Lightbringer. It's just a name. The Lightbringer laughs slightly and shrugs. I'm still gonna do it, he says, deflated. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, I see. I'm still going to do it, he says, deflated. Aren't you going to stop me? The Darkbringer? When you actually do something more than burning down a barn, maybe. He walks back to his horse and rubs its white mane. I doubt you could even do that, loser. You'll see. You'll rue the day you leave me breathing, Lightbringer. He laughs maniacally as the Lightbringer laughs as well. I doubt it. He hoists himself onto his horse and begins trotting down the path, glaring at the Darkbringer in his peripheral and his charcoal-tinted horse. He sighs heavily and stares forward at the path ahead. Just one night, he mutters before riding off into it. Alrighty. So, as much as I would love to continue and talk about the story for a hot second, we do have to take a 3-minute ad break because I'm out of snoozes. So, use this time to go use the restroom, go get a snack, get some water, go do what you gotta do. And we'll be right back after these messages. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Welcome back. Hope you had a good ad break. Let's see. To be fair, I just didn't catch that. I actually find the stomach joke pretty funny. I thought that was clever. I didn't mind that. Also, Raimundo, hello, welcome in. Would you John Nemesis? True. The ads hate me and me alone clearly. You alone are the hated one. I actually had a lot of fun writing that story. It was supposed to be a one-shot, but I do feel like it has potential to be a longer thing. Yeah, I felt that. Yeah. What are we reading? Hey, we're reading a user-submitted work from the community. So this one belongs to Hurricane VT in chat. The theme this time is called Hand-Me-Downs. This is an interesting take on the theme, which is the hand-me-down of the title of Lightbringer, right? It is an inheritance, which is another way of looking at it. But I guess the reason why this feels like a story that feels right for expanding on is because you have a very interesting main character. You have, a classic trope of a world that makes it easy to really settle into, and you have an intriguing storyline, right? A jaded protagonist who's supposed to be the good guy, but just really doesn't care, but will still do it anyway, right? And so, curiously, you just can't help but see what happens next. Nah, it's me. Hi, Epic Gender. Good to see you. But yeah, in terms of, once again, I'll ignore the usual grammar stuff because it's understandable enough that's not a problem, right? I'm not gonna get into the nitty gritty. I'll just say that, make sure you clean up some stuff when you have the time. But outside of that, let's focus on the content, right? And I actually do like the pacing of it quite a bit. Man steps into the tavern. It's in present tense and all that, which helps with the action. I like the way that it's directed. It's easy to keep track of what's going on. It does jump around a little bit in terms of the dialogue, so it makes it a bit difficult to figure out who's talking. This is the reason why some people will say, instead of saying he, they'll say this person's name, or another moniker for this person, right? Be careful when jumping around in dialogue. Otherwise, it can be really easy to lose track of who's talking. That's fair. I try to make it so each character gets a line break, yeah. But even then, right, if there's like 3 characters on the page, it can be confusing. Even with just 2 characters, you can really lose track of who's who. I can't really say there's like anything like I said, let's go back to my usual 3 points. Like what it's about, I told you what it's about, right? A jaded protagonist of a world hero doesn't really want the job anymore, right? And this is his story about how he still ends up doing the right thing and helping people anyway, despite his attitude towards it. And then we have this like a classic trope of a villain who really wants to be a villain, but is kind of bad at it, right? Especially with like, I idolize you as my nemesis, but I don't receive the same strong feelings back, right? Unrequited hate, if you understand. It's such a funny trope when you think about it. Like, I'm supposed to be your designated hater, but you don't hate me back the same, man. It's a funny idea to work with. So that, What is a yaoi? I've been getting yaoi videos from 15 years ago rented me on YouTube. Gay couple pairing worker. Boys love. The yaoi problem, I believe. Oh, because of the fact that both people are of the same gender usually, that means that if he said this, he said that, right? Like which he are we talking about? Oh my god, okay, good news actually. Okay, with an X no less. The Lightbringer's just tired, man. I see it. I see that. Oh, gotcha, yeah. Friends, or roommates as historians would say. Men slobbering men, or boys kissing boys. There you go. Boys love. All right. Why are you putting up the crucifix, man? All right, we accept love of all forms around here, as long as it's not illegal. And by illegal, I mean, what's it called? Societally illegal, not say, what's it called? Religiously illegal. Because sometimes like, oh, they're gay? Ew, said the church, and everyone was like, what year is it? Okay, as opposed to, there's a bit of a problematic age gap here, and no matter whether you're religious or not, that's just wrong. I need Braun to throw it back now. All right. I may have found a potential caregiver. They're going to come do some work next week. A caregiver, huh? Can you give me the context as to what we were talking about? I may have forgotten, unfortunately. My mind is full of stuff, and sometimes things get pushed out. Oh? I don't care about any of that. That sentence was vile. Where? Which one? Oh, the men slobbering men or boys kissing boys? A real slobber knocker of a story, huh? My friend wrote a biased short story and was so confused which dude he was referring to in combo paragraphs. Yep, there you go. We all know the most masculine thing a man can do is make out with another man to see who is the wetter kisser. Hey man, I'm really afraid. My first date's this weekend, and I've never been with a girl before. I've never even kissed anybody. What if she thinks I'm lame? Don't worry, bro. I'll help you practice. You would? All right, pucker up. Man, I've never felt that way before. Thanks for the kissing practice, bro. You're welcome. Come back anytime. What are friends for? I need bronze sulafi now? No. I'm disabled and need a caregiver for some tasks like cleaning, mostly laundry, dishes, etc. I see. Well, I'm glad that you have someone that's possibly can help you out. Congratulations. Slobbering is such a horrific word. Full of saliva. Ew. Nothing manlier than bro on bro. That's what Plato said. That is true. A lot of people forget that the ancient, Greek philosophers were all mostly bisexual or gay. I'm very concerned. What part is concerning? Pucker up. Now we open mouth, kiss, mouth wrestling our bros, tongue punching no less. Gotta teach them ASAP. We actually reading yaoi doujinshis now? No? I don't know how I keep bringing up yaoi. Everything's yaoi. I'm gonna practice kissing and sex maybe tomorrow with my friend. Wish me luck. Wow. Amazing. Happy for you. Good luck. Gay Greeks? Color me shocked. Alright. Would you like the crayons or the color pencils? Reminds me of that meme where Egyptians were gay because they like men, but Greek gay because they hate women. It's like that meme. Hold on. You're gay because you like the same. You're gay because you like men. I'm gay because I hate women. We are not the same. So dumb. Yeah, we are. Who? We are what? Number one? This friend is a cis dude, but likes to be called a good girl in bed, so, Still happy for you. Interesting stuff, right? Well, you never know what people's, turn-ons are, I guess. Different people like different things. Think of it like this, you know? The fantasies that they experience in the bedroom are not necessarily associated with their gender identities or how they view themselves as people. This topic got out of hand. I think it's just being accepting and open-minded. Sexuality is fluid, and that's a good fetish, truly. With your mom, it was a fluid. Alright, let's calm down a bit. Mocklins are a single-gendered species. I gotta look up what these guys are. Hold on a second. Oh, these guys are from Star Trek. Thanks, Garland. I honestly have my guts telling me I need to be concerned, but which part? I mean, 18 plus stream for a reason, but at the same time though, if this topic makes you uncomfortable, then it's fine to tap out and say, I'll come back later. You know what I mean? Some people are interested, some people aren't so much, and that's okay. My fantasy is bronze swall. You need to be stopped. I'm not gonna stop you, but you need to be stopped. Anyways, thank you for sharing your story, Hurricane. I appreciate it. Hopefully that helps a little bit in terms of the direction of the story. I said what it's about, I said what I liked, and I think I did say what I wanted to see more of, didn't I? If not, then I would say, yeah, I mean, just more of the story is fine too. I have no gripes with what's already on the page. I think the only thing that confused me was sometimes it's hard to tell which character is talking, right? A townsfolk comes in and by Hood, okay, this must have been the Darkbringer then, but that wasn't as clear. I guess a line saying the same townsfolk who came earlier revealed themselves in the woods. I think that would have been a nice loop back, but I didn't catch that. You know what I mean? And then like the sagely old man. I don't know where this old man came from even. It wasn't really. Sometimes characters will just appear, or at least this one does. And that's also not great because it's hard to keep track of things. That's all. I shall expand into a big boy work in progress now. To be fair, that is why I did have him loudly announce what he did. I mean, yeah, but at the same time, like, even then, sometimes it can be confusing. At least for me. Test it with different people, see what they think. Get multiple sources of data. For sure, I've just known him from high school, and I've just noticed a lot about him. I don't bug him about it or anything. I just try and hang out and be a good friend, and if things do change, I'll be there for him. It's just interesting stuff, right? Who knows? Everybody's a little different. I mean, happy, though, for you and him. I just remembered something. Any Californians in chat? You don't have to say so if you don't want to, but I'm thinking about this post I saw about Californian grammar that I thought was really funny. So it started from this post here. Dude is gender neutral, but only from guys born and raised in California who will call you dude during sex and not think twice. When people say dude is not a gender neutral word, my brain just makes a note that says not from California. And then finally, just remember, in Californian English, just like guy, dude is gender neutral in the second person, masculine in the third person. Hey dude, wanna fuck is an entirely plausible statement out of the mouth of a straight California man. I fucked a dude last night is, on the other hand, not. Ahoo, I'm Californian. I'm a coastal elite and I have $25 in my bank account. I still get very tickled by what the term coastal elite, which gets thrown around from time to time. And I just think it's so funny because it's partly true and also partly just funny as a concept. I got you, gamer. I should work on clarity. I accept y'all's pronouns, but I can't use them in writing because we got to keep track of who's saying what. That's also true. I mean, that's why we learned to use names, and that's okay. Fair, though it might just be my spike in stress, so I'm just lurking for a bit. All right, Sly. Take care of yourself. Show yourselves, coastal elites. There it is. California grammar is just normal speech. Everything else is delusional. Dude is gender neutral. There you go. I mean, here's the rule, guys. I just call everyone guy and gamer regardless of gender. Right. I'm mountainous coastal. Wow. There are oceans here somewhere. I use both dude and girly as gender neutral. It could be both, right? It's about the essence, not about the gender. I think. Depends on who you ask, really. With all the love and kindness in my heart, the name kind of gave you away. Our ways of speaking is because we've been in the hood and the internet. Not everyone can say they've been on the hood, and not everyone can say they've been on the internet, but there is some overlap there. I got past gender neutral by the fact that I call everyone individual. Interesting. Interesting individual. I default to they, them a lot these days. Hey y'all, what's up, Zozo? I also want to exemplify the fact that we are all individuals separate from one another. True. Lamau, yeah. Yo, stop twerking in my chat. I've only lived in landlocked states since 2012. That's alright. You can be open-minded and landlocked at the same time. You don't have to be next to a body of water to be, you know, progressive, I guess. I call everyone dude, not sorry. I think you're cool for that. I believe gamer is gender neutral and will call anyone gamer. I'll call Lizard a gamer. I don't give a fuck. So true. I used to call everyone dude. Had to stop when my friend told me, why you call your mom dude? Because you can. It's cool. Idiot is also pronoun free. True. You can't tell me what to do, righty boy. Yes, I can. Pants crap. Damn it. Ron's was Blinky. No. Gamer is such a funny ass title. So true. Coastal. Hey, Tired Toad Sage. I've been half salt posting and half genuinely soliciting advice in the Strive Discord. How's your night been? Oh. What's got you up in a tizzy, as people sometimes say? Ocean is where the woke is, I guess. There's something in the water that's making the folks woke. Lol. I don't use gendered terms or on anyone really until I know what they're okay with. Yeah, I think that's important. That's why sometimes I'll just straight up ask, what pronouns do you use? Just want to be clear, because I'm not sure, right? Even then, like sometimes it's easier if people are just upfront with it. I put pronouns in my bio so that it does two things. Number one, you don't have to ask in case you're confused or you don't want to make assumptions, because we live in a space now where everyone can be anything they want, and that's wonderful and beautiful in many different ways. And second off, it tells you that I am very progressive thinking, and keep in mind that if you put pronouns in your bio, you in fact support LGBTQ plus communities, because you recognize that gender is a social construct and everybody is a beautiful individual in their own ways. Go to song. True. Shout outs to Sticker Brush Symphony from Donkey Kong Country 2. Ports have a high propensity of mixing cultures due trade. That's true, actually. Which is why we call them the coastal elite, because most times metropolitan cities with like high density populations will end up having a lot of different cultures mixed in there, and as a result, people who interact with many other people that are different minded end up being more open minded as a result. And also because there's a lot of money in the area. I say that as though the money is in the people's hands, but that's another problem entirely. I'm not an economist, so I can't really say anything with expertly, but just know that there is money around. It's just not in your pocket. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water to turn the friggin' frogs gay. Sorry, but gotta keep putting the chemicals in there. I see. I drink tap, so I'm gay. Yeah, alright. You know, it occurred to me two things. Here's two fun facts that you might not know about gender. The first is that, what's it called? If you identify as they, them, you are technically transgender, because you went from having whatever you had assigned at birth to now non-binary, because that's how that works. You went from one to the other. It's not exclusive from male to female or female to male. Second off, if you are non-binary and you are in love with anybody else, you are automatically already gay, because how does that work? Heterosexual or heteroromantic involves two people of opposite genders per se, at least according to textbook definition. But because non-binaries don't count towards either of them, that is something that is not opposite. Therefore, it's adjacent, which means dating someone of that nature would actually make you kind of gay, at least on paper. And then people will go the extra mile of saying, but if they have the private parts that are opposite, then doesn't that make that straight? The answer is that genitals do not indicate gender. Genitals are separate from gender identity. All right? You could have non-binary dick or non-binary, what's a polite term for, you know, someone give me I need a better term, because sometime, I don't know, post-Christian society, whatever it's called. I need a better term for it. The you know, the girl parts. Help me out. No, just say pussy, fine. How shit we get here? All right. Being new at Strive and not knowing how to play the game in a general sense, getting my pockets run by jams and silver, doing extended RC combos I can't deal with, feeling frustrated over not being able to commit the neutral triangle to the front of my mind, that sort of thing. It takes time though, Tired Toad Sage, but I get what you're saying, and always feel free to come by and I'll see how best I can help you out, right? It's a process though. Even I'm learning, right? I'm trying to learn other characters for the sake of, you know, charity, for incentives, fulfilling my end of the bargain, and it can be tough, but it's a work in progress, you know. Be forgiving of yourself, you know. Allow yourself that breadth of forgiveness if you're not able to get everything entirely. You don't have to be perfectionist about it. It can be frustrating that you're not winning, but know that winning shouldn't be the goal. Sometimes it's about trying to do the thing that you want to do, and that can be hard sometimes when the other guy doesn't let you do that, but you know, as you do. I've seen so many cis men struggle with being attracted to non-binary people. It sucks so bad. I'm interested in hearing what you have more to say about that. I mean, because what do you mean by they're struggling with being attracted to non-binary? Because is it because they're afraid of being labeled as gay? You could be a straight non-binary, as non-binary could be forms of bigender or gender fluid, from what I hear. Sorry if I'm wrong. I'm not sure it would be exactly what you mean yet, but I'm sure someone can explain. Genitals indicate your sex. This is, well, yes and no. Hold on, let's see. I don't got pronouns in my bios to keep shit mysterious. That anybody who looks at my profile can't tell who posting the shit they're looking at. I mean, that's true, but then like we have to refer to you, we don't know how to refer to you. Someone had to say it. True. Heaven's door. Genitals don't indicate sex, as I've heard from many intersex people. There you go. See, that's the answer. Pussy. Okay, clam. Some people say kitty. I don't know. I always use they, them, as this is the internet, so you never really know. Yeah, same here. Hey, Emblem. Sure, it's a process, but I shouldn't be frustrated to the point of picking up my controller and going to bite it. Yeah, I mean, I think that is more with your attitude towards the situation, right? Like, think about why it's making you frustrated in the first place. That's usually where it comes from. And usually it's because people who don't make the progress that they're interested in making, right, will obviously feel frustrated. You don't want to be in the same place. You want to feel like you're making progress. And when you don't feel like you're making progress, that sucks. And so I think it's a matter of the mindset on what does progress actually look like to you? You know what I mean? And sometimes that's a matter of slightly altering what your goals might be. Instead of saying, I want to win or I want to do this thing, I want to just see, can I, like, if I can't do my combo, then at least let me recognize the situation better. And if I can't yet, then that's okay, right? I think it all starts with me. For me, it starts with that last piece of the sentence saying, and that's okay, right? It definitely helps calm me down, I would say. What determines sex is a lot of factors: external, internal, reproductive systems, hormonal systems, secondary sex characteristics, stuff like that in combo tells you about someone's sex, right? Well, some people will argue it's like what the doctor tells you, but who knows, right? Even then. Thank you for head patting the bird. There are some definite behavioral issues beyond belying the frustration. Belying, sometimes I just say words without looking them up. Oh, okay. Behind the frustration, I guess. There's a reason why health promotional campaigns are now referring to men who have sex with men as receptive anal sex. There's a reason why health promotional campaigns are now... Okay, I see. You had to rewrite that. Got not sent, hence some censorship. No, I just accepted it. It was the automata being held back. I see. Yeah. Someone ping me when we get back to the writing. My eyes are glazing over. Worker! Wake up, worker! Wake up, worker! Worker TV, WRKR TV. We're writing, we're reading. Hello. Wake up! Wake up! There you go.
และสุด
Gold Pan, congratulations. Gee whiz. Welcome to the writing and reading stream. There you go. Anyways, let me catch up with chat. Even karyotyping tests to see someone's chromosomes can be flawed. Sometimes it's a false result, or you can get pregnant. Sometimes you can have chromosomes left over from a baby in your body. Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to assign labels to everything because it helps our human minds understand things better. When in reality, we need to all ascend as a human species by saying that sometimes it's not that easy to put things into categories, and you have to accept that gender is a social construct, and our understanding of people is still flawed in many ways, and that sometimes you have to just understand people as they are, as individuals and as essences, sometimes, as I like to put it. That's oversimplifying a lot of things, but, you know, as you do. I think people think too hard and just fuck up or kiss whoever they like if they like him enough to want to fuck him. At Doctor Strange Hunter, or How I Learned to Stop Giving a Shit and Love People. True. Worker, we're reading about sex and shit. Workers, wake up. I'm out. Bowls. Okay. Looks like I'm leaving again. No. We're not. We're done. That in itself is a category. We're going to put that in the mind, body, and spirit. Yes, okay. Let's move on to the next piece, shall we? That's Lemons. Oh, here we go. Hey, worker, look, it's your piece.
Okay, we are writing again. Sorry, was figuring out me gender with me loving friend on me cool Discord server. ... No bron, you can join it. Sorry, it only for chat who eat shit and poop.
Okay, alright, you got me with that last line. Even more wild is sometimes people get karyotyped and they find out they're a chimera. Interesting. Either way, you're up next, worker, because we did let's see, we already did hurricanes, and after hurricanes would be, yeah, it's you, because Lemon Bop isn't here yet. So yeah, Lemon's still not here. No, Lemon's not here, and that's okay. I mean, last week Yofei wasn't here either, but apparently they looked at the VOD and said, you know, who did that? Oh, I see. It was left over. Thanks, Murdoch. All right, here we go. Long gone, but still omnipresent. With every shard of shattered glass and every drop of drained blood, a specter spectates every elevated heartbeat and weak-willed wallowing evening. An alien desperation and foreign rage churn natively amidst spilled spirits and trailing tears. An inheritance of inhibition, of scored scars, and inevitably weakening wailing. Interesting. Let me break that down. Long gone, but still omnipresent. With every shard of shattered glass and every drop of drained blood, a specter spectates every elevated heartbeat and weak-willed wallowing evening. An alien desperation and foreign rage churn natively amidst spilled spirits and trailing tears. An inheritance of inhibition, of scored scars and inevitably weakening wailing. Okay, so basically ghost hauntings, right? Has that had to do with hand-me-downs? It means that. It's like, well, it's almost like a lingering thing hanging around, right? I don't know if it's all one big metaphor for something else, but to me, I read that as kind of literal. No ghosts. Well, you know. Long gone but still omnipresent. Maybe it's just an oxymoron, as you said earlier. You're here, but not quite. Every shard of shattered glass, every drop of drained blood, a specter spectates every elevated heartbeat. It's like basically you're not a person in the room. But it's a bit of a roundabout way of saying it. Elevated heartbeat and weak-willed, wallowing evening, an alien desperation and foreign rage churn natively amidst spilled spirits and trailing tears. Inheritance of inhibitions of scored scars and inevitably weakening wailing. Okay, I'm gonna be a bit brutal with you here, just a little bit, because I know you can take it, because you're a big guy and you've been around the block. You can take it. All right. This reminds me of generational trauma or parental trauma personally, but I'm #biased. Hell yeah, do to him. Yeah, that's you, buddy. This goes on the pile of poems that I've read which feel more opaque than transparent. I've been over this before. Transparent means that it's very literal, it's easy to understand what's going on. This is one of those, like, it's so opaque, it's so hard to see through all the layers that it almost ends up obscuring my understanding of it and how to relate to it as a result. In addition to this, it reads as, once again, a bit sentimental because of the fact that, as in, not sentimental like, oh, it's overly sad, but more of the fact it's overindulgent because of the language being used that is more on the abstract side of things, right? Almost like a cliche to the point of it, right? Weak-willed wallowing evening, alien desperation, foreign rage churn natively, right? It doesn't have a concrete counterpart to reality. It's just a whole bunch of amorphous terms, right? It's an abstract idea that isn't attached to anything, and which it can work, but because there's no counterpart to it that can be nailed down, it ends up actually just floating away from me as a poem, right? Amidst spilled spirits and trailing tears. The word tears I go back and forth on, and most times, more often than not, I find it to be a very weak word in terms of poetry, because yes, it's a very literal term, but once again, it's self-indulgent in the fact that, like, oh, it just means sad, right? I don't get more from it, especially with spilled spirits and trailing tears. I'm not really sure what to make of it. An inheritance of inhibition, of scored scars, and inevitably weakening wailing is actually really quite interesting when I think about it. Because an inheritance of inhibition, right? It just means feeling free. Inhibition, I guess, right? If I'm understanding that right. Actually, hold on. Maybe it's the opposite. I keep forgetting. Something that restrains, blocks, or suppresses. Never mind. Sorry. The opposite. I don't know why I thought. Release your inhibitions is probably what I was thinking of. Shout out to the one song. But an inheritance of inhibition is a fun little, what is called an alliteration used here, which is fun for the ear, but it also just means, what's it called? Being passed down the weight of shackles. Right? Feeling like you can't do anything because you're always restrained by something. Of scored scars, right? Which means a plethora of things that are marked on your psyche or your literal skin. Inevitably weakening wailing, right? Which means the voice gets quieter and quieter, which is a way of saying that eventually you stop screaming out about the things that displease you. it is once again one of these poems that is trying. I feel like if I had to summarize, it's one of those poems that's trying to say everything sucks and I feel super bad, and this is how I express myself about it. But it does in such a way that it alienates me as the reader because I can't relate to it very well. You know what I mean? It's probably one of those. It's like I say. Oh my goodness! Holy, that's a three-peat, baby. So first, Witzrix, thank you for rating with a party of 9. Slack Happy, thank you for rating with a party of 1. And Gansian, hello, welcome. Thank you for rating with a party of 1. Welcome in Raiders. Hello, my name is Bronsois, modern day bard at your service, your one-stop shop for poetry, performance, and pleasantries. When I'm not playing fighting games, you can usually find me reading, writing, and sometimes I might even sing you a song. Hey, welcome in. Yep, that's 3. Hope you guys had a great time.
Welcome, La Raider. It's me Bron Soup. Me play fight game and when you see me not, me bear doing some poem and pleasantry. Broadcasted by Le Solo aka Asip Soup.
Witzrix, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. And for those of you who are coming in, who you just heard is the bird on my shoulder, whose name is Shih Tzu, which is short for Shitswall, which is short for Shit Swallow, which is short for Shit Swallower. He's the bane of my existence because all he does is eat my food, be fat, shit in my sink, and sit on my shoulder. That's about it. He's the bane of my existence, right? Anyways, I claim no ownership of this bird, but I can't get rid of him either. Either way, welcome in. Hope you guys had a great time writing and reading. Welcome into my own writing and reading stream where I do this once a week and view community submitted works that are then showcased on stream. And if they so happen to like, I can also critique it for them. This particular user I'm looking at is Worker in chat, and he has given me consent to really lay it on him in terms of how hard of a critique he wants. Otherwise, I'm not usually so gung-ho about it. But welcome in. What kind of bird? It's a swallow, exactly. I've never heard the lore of your bird until now. Well, now you know. Triple. True. Raiders, if you gotta go, you gotta go. Please do get some rest. Otherwise, feel free to stick around. Now y'all know where to find me. I had a roommate with a green cheek conure, and she was so friendly as a baby, then she grew up and didn't want anything to do with me. I see. We got another one. Soul the Angel, thank you for raiding with a party of 1. Welcome in, Raiders. Hello, my name is Bronsois, modern day bard at your service, your one-stop shop for poetry, performance, and pleasantries. When I'm not playing fighting games, you can usually find me reading, writing, and sometimes I might even sing you a psalm. Hey, welcome in. Hope you had a great time playing Minecraft. Ow. Raiders, if you gotta go, you gotta go. Please do get some rest. Otherwise, feel free to stick around now. You'll know where to find me. I hope you had an amazing day today. I hope you had an amazing day tomorrow. And I hope you have an amazing day tomorrow as well. Same to you, Soul. I appreciate you. Hope Minecraft was fun. Swallow what? You joking? No. You know, I hate to say this, Hurricane, but the reason why I cannot outrun the legacy of the swallow is because back when I was a Wii streamer, we were trying to think of slogans and mascots and things like that, and we were like, what do I call my fan base? And I jokingly said, what if we were the swallowers? Because we, in fighting games, as they say, we don't choke, we swallow. I've been cursed forever since, and people can't stop saying it. So I decided, okay, if I can't get rid of it, then I'll simply reframe it. So I just tried to say, guys, it's like a swallow, like a bird, and no one believes me. So now I'm stuck with both an annoying bird and this name for my followers. Except I tried to rebrand as Swavance, but no one cares about that. You cannot outlast the swallowers. I hate it here. Good news, I'm almost done organizing my apartment. Yippee! Just admit it, we know you laid the egg that made the bird. We'll accept you get the pass. I disown it. If that was the bird's fault, if I was that bird's father too, I did not lay the egg. What? So that transition to the bird and follower name? Correct. The swallowers has a different connotation, I fear. Yes! I don't even fear. I live this. Alright? Fucking Garland, I know. Where am I at? What am I doing? Inevitably. You mean inevitably? Inevitably? Never mind. I'm working on something with the word tears in it, but I want to workshop that part. Maybe I just try to figure out how. A lysologism, or a way of gongorism. Let me look up those words real quick, just so I can make sure I'm not getting them wrong. Okay, Lysologism is not a word, apparently. It might be, well, there's also listology, but that's not it. So I'm not sure if the spelling is gongorism. This one is literary style from the Baroque period characterized by ornate language, complex metaphors, and tendency towards obscurity. It is named after the Spanish poet Luis de Góngora, who was a prominent figure in this movement. Right, like I said, right? Maybe you were born in the wrong generation. Nah. There's an audience for everything, right? And I think some people might be able to appreciate this better. But I've been listening to a lot of different types of poetry, and even the most obscure ones, or when I say obscure, that means more on the side of like big abstract ideas and what's called more opaque meanings, are still effective. And effective in the sense that every single moving part in the poem still serves toward the idea that they're trying to write towards in ways that still are relatable or feel more like a puzzle. And in a sense, you do have a puzzle here, but I don't feel rewarded for figuring it out in a way. Because in the end, like it's basically just a fancy way of saying shit sucks. And if that was the case, I don't know. I feel like I would rather go to a different poem for that kind of feeling. I don't know if that makes sense. This reminds me of generational trauma or parental trauma personally, but I'm biased. Closer. Right, okay. Like I said, well, as you saw, it took me a few reads through to kind of decipher some things, but yeah. I hate pronouncing inevitably as well. Well, no, I didn't realize you were saying inevitably. I know how to say inevitably. I thought you were saying a different word entirely. Or no, not you, but, you know. Swallow this massive mug of root beer. I do love root beer. Out of curiosity, then, you've laid this opaque critique before. Does being alienated by the work makes you feel uncomfortable? No, it just makes it so it makes me feel like the poem isn't doing what it's supposed to do, unless that's what you were looking for, right? If that's how your mind works, if that's how like the mode of your poetry extends itself, then don't let me stop you. I'm simply one person who has his own preference when it comes to writing. And so I wouldn't say that you need to change that. I just don't think it's as effective as other things I've seen in the same vein. That's all I'm saying. Hey, Cherry. Lysologism is from Liso smooth, like when a thing's only about itself. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Does that mean the poem is self-serving? A little bit. But that isn't necessarily a bad thing either, right? The thing about trying to give critique to a subjective topic is that no one is ever right or wrong, right? All I can say is, did it move me in a certain way? And in this case, I'm going to say no. It didn't move me, if that makes sense. Is it supposed to move me? Not every poem needs to. But I feel like that's what this poem was trying to do, and I don't think it did that, right? I don't think it set out to do what it's supposed to do. But I'm not sure. Maybe you did get what you wanted out of it, right? That's up to the writer of the poem themselves. But like I said, that is for them to know and for me to give feedback for. I have a mug of root beer meme. Let me find it. Wowee. But yeah, I don't know if that helps. But that's what I have to say about it. Right, I've given this advice before. There are poems that I've written that feel true in the moment. I call those sentimental poems because I'll come back and I read this poem and it doesn't hit me the same way because I realize I'm not that person anymore. And then there's poems I read where no matter how many times I come back to it, it's always true, right? And I think that's a testament to how effective the poem is, right? There's poems that are true and there's poems that are sentimental as a result that I've written. This comic page I just drew can't be shared since it literally spoils the arc of an entire character. This meme is pretty explicit. Just share me then. What's your Discord program of use? I haven't since we've been here before. I just don't like spelling things out since it feels flat to me, which is usually what I see when I read other poetry. It depends. Like, there's this nice middle ground right? I'm not saying you have to spell it out, but I'm saying that you've obscured it to the point where it's no longer even visible. Anomaly or alien structure? Well, that's the thing, right? It's the same deal with artists who try to do something so abstract that it ends up like no one can relate to it. There's this fine line, right? Where people try to do something so original that it ends up not very good. Because ultimately we're all humans, and humans have certain things they latch onto, which is why tropes are really useful. When you've managed to follow tropes but do something in a way that you feel hasn't really done before, or in a way that is intrinsic to you as a person individually, you create something new and feels fresh, even if it's a topic that has been done before. But when you push the envelope to the point where it's unrecognizable and alien to the human experience, essentially, humans generally aren't going to take to it very easily because of its alien nature, right? If it works for you, it works for you. Like I said, write poetry for you. If you like it, then that's all that really matters in the end. But if you ask other people what they think of it, then that's probably what they're going to tell you, right? Everyone's a little different. It's like looking at an art piece. You know what I mean? A UFO poem? Maybe. I have a friend who is obsessed with making poems about nothing. That's his actual goal. Amazing poet. Really one of the most brilliant poets I know, like, at all. Alive or dead, but holy shit, those poems are dense. I mean, that sounds interesting. Yo, tropes are more or less just tools at the end of the day. Exactly. You get it, Hurricane. Sometimes the majority of people just don't give a shit to a banana taped to a wall that sells for millions. Yeah, I remember that. I feel like you've liked the ones where I've tried less hard more, but yeah, I do like writing these ones the most. I get it. If anything, how about this? Maybe you should try your hand at something more structured and see how that works out for you. Because the alienness of your poem might or the alienness of your writing might end up being very suited for structured poems, you know, that have a certain rhyme scheme or a certain poetic meter to them, which also might help this feeling of wanting to put things together in a very certain way. All right, see if that tickles your fancy. And it might also be an interesting challenge to you. Rules? Gross. You say that, nah, JK might be worth a shot. I think so. You say you don't like, you say you're gross to rules, but then again, you impose these other rules on yourself about how you like to write. So I don't know. Try different things. But that's just my feedback, right? And you might want a second opinion. Other people might like it. I know Grixt has a very interesting mind that might like this a lot more. It's my personal thing. I fashion myself as a people person first. So if I see something that is very people-oriented towards the human experience, then I tend to take after that more. But there's a point where I'm just like, I feel like the human experience in this particular piece, for example, has been alienated to the point where it's no longer relatable, right? In this case, I would say, oh, well, you know. And then there's points where, like, it's so plain and straightforward, and, like, you're showing, or you're telling more than showing, to the point where there's no magic in the work. You're simply just saying stuff, which you've essentially stripped the poetry of the poetry, right? There's no interest, there's no mystique, there's no show to it, there's no, like, interest, I should say. Once again, it's not about right or wrong. It's not about good or bad. It's about, does it work or not? And for some people it works, and others it doesn't. And there's multiple classes as to why things work. And I keep going back to this idea of, if you really want to know whether or not something you're doing is working, go read more poets, right? Go read more. Go find people who do something similar to you and understand why you like it and why you think it's good. You know what I mean? Because there's only so far you can get doing things on your own. Eventually you will hit a wall because you have no other perspective than inside yourself. And when you only have conversations with yourself, your ideas become stale, right? Because there is no new stimulation there, right? The ideas become circulative and derivative, I should say. You know? So yeah, sometimes in order to create something that transcends your current level, you need to go and look up what the next level looks like. Very good feedback as always. He really said you did a brutalist poem. That's metal as fuck. Did I? I said my feedback would be brutal. I typed in brutalist and it gave me brutalist architecture, which is a style that emerged in the 1950s, characterized by raw concrete block-like forms and a focus on functionality over decoration, which isn't unlike what you're doing, funny enough. Often used for public buildings like universities and government structures. When you said the poem was stripped of poetry and bare, I was like, oh yeah, brutalist poem. I'm currently reading The Way Disabled People Love Each Other by Leah Lakshmi Peepsna Samarasina. It's a poetry collection. I recommend it to anyone interested in disability justice. The topic of disability is always one that's very heartfelt, but also so difficult to broach in different political climates, because I don't know why. I don't know why the way people are has to be a political topic, right? There's a poem in this, right? Where just existing and being a person, having difficulties in your life, why does this have to be a topic decided by people in office, people who have say over different rules and laws, right? Why does your body, your existence, and who you are as a person have to be dictated by those in power? I don't understand, right? Why does this have to be complicated? Why does this have to be the way that it is? When in reality, people have problems. There are solutions to problems, and sometimes the solutions aren't always going to be messy, but it's a work in progress. But the important part is to be understanding and see, have communication. What do people need? What do you need? If you don't know what you need, we can figure it out. Stuff like that. Crazy stuff, really. Brutalism is hardcore, though. True. I love brutalism when mixed with over-exaggerated designs, like a golden blade on a rusted crossguard. Actually, no, like a golden crossguard on a basic and functional blade. That's a good one. Honestly, despise brutalist design. It's so depressing. This is also true. It has its places. It has its functions. So my favorite. See, there's already the I like it, I don't like it. Right? That's fair. I don't like feeling in a concrete cube most hours of the day. It is highly depressing. I don't really know why it caught on in the 90s, and that's why we have so many buildings that look like the way they are. But here we are. Brutalism? Yeah, you can look it up. It's a type of design that's meant to strip bare most aesthetic stuff and only focus on function, which is why a lot of concrete buildings look so fucking boring. The enjoyment is overcoming its intense pressure. Like I said, there is a function to it. That being said, I think brutalism, despite its intention of just helping you focus, just ends up making you more depressed, as some studies would show. I don't get why I can't have fucking marriage equality. I have to stay poor to receive the help I need. I can't even save money unless it's for specific things. That's what I'm saying, right? A lot of things are ass backwards in many places in the U.S. Actually, most of the U.S. Much earlier than the 90s, but yeah, shit is sick. Right. I'm just saying that because of my recency of memory, a lot of things I remember as brutalist structure is very much placed in the culture of the 90s, especially with the fashion, because you have to remember the fashion of the 80s was so poppy, right? Leg warmers and jazzercise or whatever else, right? It was very hip to be colorful and big and poofy. And then we got into this very subdued color and fashion in the 90s of gray monochrome scale and, very muted colors when it came to like coats and things like that, right? And then we got into the 2000s where we had very gnarly round looking things and ripped jeans and, frosted tips of hair, and it was interesting. It was a very interesting time in the early 2000s. These designs suck. The enjoyment is vandalizing and making it interesting. Also fair. I mean, everything seems to domino one thing into another, right? One thing leads. It goes back to the idea of causality. So, brutalism exists, and therefore there is a reaction to it of, well, I say of a reaction against it, where people purposefully go out of their way to reject what it is in favor of freedom of expression and color. Right? That's why I enjoy happy endings, so do I. Not defiling perfectly clean concrete. Well, sometimes that means creating art out of things. So true. America is a third world nation that has enough old money to literally kill the world. Yes. In a lot of ways, yes. It already is killing the world. This is also true. Speaking of architectures, I learned that Art Deco was popular in the Philippines in the early years of 1900s. The Philippines has such an interesting history, so rich full of stuff, because there's so many different cultures of the islands, right? Like a lot of people don't know that, you know, not every single island speaks Tagalog. There are different dialects and languages across the islands of the Philippines. Another fun fact is, recently I found out that Jollibee's in certain locations is doing a Final Fantasy collab, but it's not available in the Philippines for some reason. God dang it. And so I heard someone say, like, why the fuck is this not available? Jollibee's originated in the Philippines. Motherfuckers. Final Fantasy 14 collab. God damn it. I saw a sticker of the fucking Jollibee mascot riding a chocobo, and you're telling me it's not available in the Philippines? Fuck you. Makes me sad that some of those architectures are barely used now. Not in the Philippines is great. I want to get that chocobo. See, that's what I'm saying, bro. I don't know why. Why is there so much prejudice against the Philippines? What is going on, bro? The heck is a Jollibee? Filipino food. Think of it like a fried chicken restaurant, except you can get Filipino food like Filipino spaghetti and pineapple juice. In specific locations such as those in the Philippines, instead of giving you like a side, you can get a side of rice instead of like other stuff. Popeyes is doing a One Piece collab in some places. Yeah, and some places you can go to One Piece collab cafe. Those are really cool, by the way. If you live next to one, you should totally go. We need Art Deco to come back. It's so good. I want to climb those types of buildings so badly. Chicken rice. Yeah, exactly. Hold on. I gotta pull up some Art Deco now. Art Deco. Here's some images of Art Deco. Very cool stuff, right? It's stuff that looks like it's from the Roaring 20s, I'll be real with you. But it's so cool. Wouldn't you say? Don't think I've seen Filipino food. Sounds interesting. Filipino food is good. We gotta get you more cultured, man. Like, we gotta really open your mind to stuff. So pretty. You know, I find that the fastest way to open someone's mind is through their stomach. You know how they say, like, the fastest way to a man's heart is the stomach? Same thing with the mind, actually. If you really want someone to just, like, stop being so prejudiced, fucking give them some good-ass food. And they're gonna be like, you know what? Maybe I was too hard on these people. Maybe they're actually cooler than I thought. True, it looks so good. Some Gotham-type shit's peak, I know. God, the original Warner Brothers cartoons for both Batman and the Justice League were so good. And Superman, right? They had a certain pacing and art direction to them that still carries itself with such grace these days and implements these lessons about the human experience, or I should say beyond the human experience, that still resonates with a lot of audiences today. I've been watching a lot of clips on Twitter of like Justice League Unlimited, Batman Beyond, etc. Some of you might have seen it recently. But I like watching these clips because I'm just like, wow, this still holds up. I love the art style and the animation frames per second, etc. Right? They don't really do it like that anymore, and it makes me a little sad. I've had Southeast Asian food, very sour. It depends on the Southeast Asian food, right? Certain cultures like it more sour than others. I'm not particularly fond of the Filipino food that has a lot of vinegar in it. I'll pass on that, sorry. You know, like your adobo chicken or adobo pork. Adobo, let's just say adobo. Your adobo can be really good, but I've also had the ones that had way too much vinegar in it, and I don't like it very much. You don't like adobo? I don't like the vinegar in the adobo. It smells very strong. Right? And it puts off my appetite because my appetite is more on the savory umami side as a person who likes to eat a lot of Vietnamese food. That being said, I'm also kind of weird because I don't like eating the more sour parts, like, or pickled things, I should say. Like banh mi, which is the Vietnamese sandwich, usually includes pickled radish and carrot in their sandwiches. I don't like it though, so I don't eat it with that. As a result, this makes me kind of like a bit of an anomaly, a bit of a freak and a picky eater, but more for everybody else. Ain't that just seasoning? What are we talking about? No, I'm talking about like that's the main fucking flavor. Hey, Lemon Bop, there you are. Just got done with Sam's show lobby. Hey, there you are. Now I can finally read your piece. Let me snooze this real quick. Let's see. It literally made an arch. It's just men holding up the arch shell. That's so cool. So pretty. All the buildings now are boring. Gotham type shit. Speaking of Filipino stuff, a vegan Filipino bakery opened up an hour away from me, public transit at least. I can't stop thinking about the strawberry jelly-filled donut I got there. Oh, heck yeah. When I'm in a bad mood, I literally eat good food, right? Snickers nailed it on the head. You're not you when you're hungry. So true, Elsie. So true. Southeast Asian food taste depends on the country. Yeah. In the Philippines, we like sour. Yeah. Fun fact, Studio Ghibli animates some of the BTAS and STAS. What does this stand for again? Too much vinegar adobo is not good. Yeah. I'm the same with vinegar. You can always taste in my experience. Having that mix of salty and sour is the perfect adobo taste. It makes finding Korean food difficult with how much pickled food there is. It depends. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on the balance. My mother says I'm not a real Southern Viet because I don't like coconut or mung bean. I like mung bean and I like coconut, but to each their own, right? Bronkin swear? Fuck, yeah. Vinegar, a flavor in adobo. It's powder. I'm so confused. What are you talking about? Bro, I never do anything till I eat. True. Batman animated show and Superman animated show. Yeah, okay. I'm talking about adobo. Yeah, what about adobo? Have you had it? Do I have to pull up a picture of adobo? Have you had it? Yes, that's why I'm complaining about it. I've had it at a friend's house. Here's an example of adobo chicken, right? It looks really good. But sometimes people put a little too much vinegar and you step into the kitchen and you're like, it hits you like a wave of what the hell's that? What does that smell? And you find out, oh, that's the adobo, right? Adobo that has very balanced seasoning and stuff like that is pretty great. That being said though, my one experience has put me off a little bit on it, but you know. Red adobo? That's a Latino thing. What are you talking? I'm talking about Filipino adobo. What is any of this on my screen? Stop being so prejudiced, man. Just open your mind for a second. Like, what are you talking about? Like Latino adobo? Because that's different, right? Is this what you're thinking of, or are you talking about something else? Because I'm talking about the Filipino food, man. Not even remotely. It's a seasoning. I'm gonna culture you for a second, man. I'm gonna clock you over the head with some culture. All right. It's called Asian food. Most of Korean food isn't pickled though. Like most Korean food diet is seafood. That's true. But actually, well, no. There's plenty of different Korean food. Ain't there adobo seasoning and adobo sauce? I think you're probably right. I cook with it all the time. Batman animated show and Superman animated show? Yeah. If I don't eat, especially when it comes to eating, my brain, I literally don't function. For food, though, I have a nasty habit of stress eating where I will gorge excessively for hours so I won't eat for days. Oof. I have ARFID, avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. It makes it hard for me to try new food or even like them. It makes me sad because I want to try food from other places. I see. Sorry to hear that. I'm gonna learn my aunt's adobo recipe to feed you all good adobo. It's a block something you can season with. Okay, what seasoning? Okay, I see there's some culture shock, and we're meeting in the middle, explaining to each other which one is what. Wrong one. The Goya adobo seasoning in the Latin section. There you go. That's what it's called? Okay, there you go. Some reality thing. You need to stop. That language is so prejudiced, and I don't like that. All right? Please respect other cultures here. But I never heard of these seasonings. See, that's the difference. I never heard this versus you live in the wrong world. That's fucked up. Stop that. The Asian food and the Hispanic food. Like, stop trying to culturally erase people. What the fuck is wrong with you? All right? The Asian food and the Hispanic food people are fighting. Oh my god, I'll go out and watch. Pulls up a chair and starts eating his cornbread with pork chops and beans. How would I know about these when y'all keep saying adobo? That's what I'm saying. They're both Latin adobo chicken, not seasoning, as well as on top of Filipino because of colonization. Y'all should fight each other to death. Don't do that. I never said it was wrong. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying, like, you need to watch the way you say things, man. This food looks so good. Yeah, this is a Filipino food, Cherry. I swear to the Jollibees. This is Jollibee. This is what the restaurant looks like on the outside, usually. And then inside it looks like this, and sometimes they have a statue of the mascot, and you know, you go up and you order stuff on the menu, and the menu will consist of stuff with like the usual fries, Coke, and then like you have fried chicken, and sometimes they'll give you potatoes and gravy, and then like they'll also give you rice and Filipino spaghetti sometimes, and sometimes you can even get stuff like pineapple juice, and it's cool, right? It's great. See, there's a bowl of rice there. You can even have like cool little apple pie cake or whatever it's called. I passed by Jollibee today. Nice. Like, I've seen that before. Never been in there before, though. It's good. It's good food. You'll check the old Jollibee buildings in the Philippines. I've never seen those, actually. I live in the wrong world. It's a massive, flat, concrete jungle with old fucks and the worst infrastructure in America. I'm sorry to hear that. If you ever get the money, go traveling for sure. Back in my day, conflict this would lead to a first to 20 money match. I can see that. There are no Jollibees in my neck of the country. Damn. Time to go traveling for a little bit. Old Jollibee buildings just bring me back. Actually, I spelled Jollibee wrong. I'm so dumb. Is this what they look like? I'm not really sure, actually. I have to drive 3 hours for Jollibees in nowhere flatlands. I can't wait till I fly back to Toronto. Yeesh. The mascot's looking at the food so seductively. That's been a running joke. That's how you know it's good. I know this place. My mom went there once and hated it because she thought it was just another fried chicken place. The Jason Derulo beat is hilarious. All right, we're going to take a 3-minute ad break, people. When we come back, I'm going to read Lemon's piece right here. This is the only other piece I have for the evening. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, go use this time. Take a break. What's it called? Unwind yourself if you are feeling a little wound up. Get some water. Use the restroom. Go get some air. And we'll be right back after these messages. I'll see you guys in a bit. Welcome back. Hope you had a good ad break. 10th image on the right, I think I've been there before. Oh, this one. That's fun. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I don't know if Lemon's still around, but I'm about to read your work, by the way. Gotta go outside and get some curry. All right, Murdoch had a good one. So this one's called Seeking. Just the same old stuff in this town. Been like that ever since Bro isn't around. Even though he spent most nights on a telescope, he had a way of revealing hope. Didn't he leave that thing in the attic? Maybe I should see what's so great about that stick. A book of constellations? A guide to ancient illumination. Maybe I can find Aquarius. Wow, the moon looks really different like this. This is cool and all, but what was he looking for? Wouldn't doing this every night be kind of a bore? That's when a shooting star passed by, and I got this idea. The day he left with a big smile, I think I get why. Oh. That's a sweet short little poem. Thank you, Lemon. My head and my neck's throbbing for some reason. It hurts. You did say earlier you had a crick in your neck that you couldn't quite get out. That was lovely. Yeah, it was a sweet little poem. Let's see, just to make sure. This one is only no critique for this one. Just sharing. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Thank you. Was cute? All right, with that, we have covered all the submissions for today for hand-me-downs. Since you didn't critique them, round 2 of critiquing worker, let's go. You already got enough, no double dipping. I kid. Maybe talk about my comic more. Well, maybe when you have more to show. But then again, I feel like you need to spend some time refining the idea more, don't you? Also, thank you for pet patting the bird. It'll keep him occupied so he isn't bothering me. I had fun with storytelling this because I've had a history of trying to overcomplicate the writing. Sometimes keeping it simple isn't a bad idea, right? Oh, you know what? Maybe that's what I was trying to get at earlier. Sometimes in order to get better at the thing you want to do more of, you have to branch out and do the opposite for a second. There was a period of time where I really liked just writing short lines of poetry. But then I got really inspired by people who wrote really, really long lines. And I tried it myself, and I came to understand the appeal of it as well as the effects of it and why it's good and how it works. And when I went back to writing the usual, I found that I was better able to understand line lengths and the purpose of breaking lines. I do have a lot. Just put down more basic stuff. Unless it's so simple that it alienates. I wouldn't say it alienates a worker. Simple doesn't alienate. It sometimes too simple. And when I say simple, you have to understand that I'm not talking about putting things plainly. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about telling more than showing, right? This whole show don't tell thing, right? There's a difference between saying my brother died versus the spaces of which you used to inhabit feel empty, right? The items that you left with me still linger with the traces of your laughter and the warmth of your spirit. I don't look at my room the same way anymore. The space we used to inhabit in ways that used to brighten my day now only bring me a hollow echo of what used to be. Right? There's an elevation to it. There's a way to show you these images and pictures and feelings without just straight up telling you, yeah, he's dead, he's gone, what do you want? But there's something so poetic about saying all of that only to drop you at the very end on this very hard, cold line. He's gone. And he's not coming back, right? Bring you back down to reality. There's a purpose to it all. There's direction to it, right? Where is it all leading? Sometimes it's okay to tell people, but only after you've earned it, in my opinion. There's purpose to the way we write things. I lead you on this journey when I write this poetry so that you can follow along and experience for yourself what it is that I've been through. To tell you would be too simple. That's just another story to you, another words to the ears, something that you'll tune out and forget. But to lead you through this, to have you understand what I've been through the images, the sensory details, and all of these little things that you would never notice until I told you. That is to have this memory inhabit you as much as it is mine. And to walk you through the world through my shoes for a second so that you can understand what it is I lost. That is what it means to show you rather than tell. And that, in the sense, is what I tried to do with the poem. But that's just an example, because my brother never actually died. And I would hope that in some sense he lives on forever, in one way or another. I don't really write poems, but I do translate them. You know, Raimundo, translation is its own art when it comes to poetry, by the way. Because every single translation is its own interpretation. Depending on how you translate it, it is technically your own work. Because the original meaning of a poem changes once you translate it. It really is, exactly. So in a sense, you actually are writing poetry, because the words you choose for your translation change the spirit of the poem in one sense. And people go back and forth on whether they should preserve the language or preserve the feeling. And that's why there's a difference between translating and localizing. In this case, I tried to use really casual language to paint the character. I see it, and I think it worked. I wrote an essay about that and about adaptations because people think the movie has to be like the book, comic, etc. You know, I find myself to be a broken record sometimes when it comes to this kind of thing. But I would say that, yes, books that are adapted into movies, that are adapted into musicals, that are adapted into essays, right? Or even video reviews are all different, right? The medium changes, as does the interpretation of it, as well as the reception of it, right? A novel that is adapted into a comic are two different things, right? Using lots of words to explain something is very different from actually seeing images on a page. The feeling is different. Maybe I should try to do something that is more approachable. You can try it, right? Because only by trying different things do you really begin to understand why it is you like doing things the way you do and why it works for you, right? But there are different approaches, right? Some people are very stubborn and like to do just one thing and one thing very well. But the only reason they're able to do it very well is because they study intensely about the form that they take, right? No master ever simply did it automatically. They had to learn from somewhere, right? They had to be inspired by something. Someone didn't necessarily teach them, but they had to look outside of themselves in order to move to the next level of where they want to be, right? Whether that's looking to nature or looking towards others who came before you, in my opinion, right? To develop mastery means to admit that you don't have all the answers, in my opinion. The Bible is also a great example. We have like 12 different acceptable English translations. The only holy books that survive either demand to be its original language or had a small committee right next to the original writer. The Bible is such an interesting piece of literature. Hi, Looney. Welcome in. I don't much care for being connected to or whatever, but I do find it strange that meaning that seems obvious to me seems to evade whoever else. And that's what I mean, right? Also, Karina, thank you for the 15 stream streak. As always, hope you enjoy your time here. And I predict the next thing you will do is do exclamation mark lurk. 15, sheesh. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. The Bible actually goes hard. If you never heard about Christianity, it's a banger. Christianity is so interesting. I just wish that its practices didn't end up doing so many people dirty. Exclamation mark piss. Get schmixed. I fell for the mix-up. Anyways, to your point though, worker. The meaning that seems obvious to you invades whoever else. That means that you essentially are saying, how come nobody else understands me? Which is a sign that you've not made an attempt to understand other people. In a sense, right? But it's like, of course I do, right? I love people. Or maybe not, actually. There is an art to it, right? What does it mean to be a poet? Is it simply to express yourself? Or is it to capture some sort of essence? Is it to communicate with other people? Is it to do something more with your words, right? Are you making art, or are you trying to do something more than that? What is art to you? What is poetry? These are questions that are hard to answer, that never have a singular right answer. It's definitely not to communicate with others. I've been writing for 20 plus years and have only recently showed anyone anything. Well, yeah, like I said, right? But you go back and read these things, right? There was a reading that I attended recently that was, no exaggeration, life-changing when I listened to this poet. And during a Q&A session afterwards, one of the things that really resonated with me is how they were talking about what really made the shift for them when it came to their art form. And they said that things really started to take off for me and change when I stopped trying to do it to be famous and started to do it because I wanted to be good, right? I wanted to master that thing. I wanted to be really good at it, right? And that's the big difference. Like, how do you be good at this thing, right? All this practice, all this research, what is it for? Because there's some people who out there are like, oh man, you're so amazing. You know, you do it for all this praise and all this stuff. But that begins to matter a lot less when you begin the road to improvement, when you are doing it for the sake of wanting to make something that outlasts you, that really resonates and continues to be this crowning achievement. Because once you pass on, that's it. Like, what do you do after that, right? If you were to just disappear tomorrow and this is all that you had left, what is left? And would you be okay with that? Could you make peace with that if this is the only thing you have to your name? You know what I mean? Also, Nail, thank you for the 7 stream streak. Week gang, hello. Once you pass on, I get a free body. All right, some people here apparently never die. Forgot about that. After dirtling around silver, I'm convinced that neutral isn't a real thing. Not that early. Neutral doesn't exist because everyone always throws themselves at you, in which case it would behoove you to learn some defense. Either that or tighten up your offense so hard that they can't even play the game. Be like Hegel. Before dying, he was like, y'all never understood shit of what I wrote. Right? To each their own. But to your point, I don't remember who Hegel is. So there you go. I'm a skedaddle because I do not like talks about mortality after nearly dying 4 times. I'm so sorry. It's one of those things I dwell too much on. I'm sorry to hear that you had 4 near-death experiences. That is not healthy or okay. I hope you're okay. I'm glad you're still around. Maybe I'll double down and never show anyone anything ever again. I kid. Welcome back. What did you miss? Not much of anything really. We've reached the locked in stage this particular stream. I'm locking and splurging about umlaut then. Crazy. I'm trying to decide if I want to alter my work or not. Also, sorry about that. I didn't think you would wait for me until you read it. I'll be a little earlier next time. No, it's no problem with me, right? If they don't show up, they don't show up, and that's okay, right? I don't like. I still haven't quite nailed down whether or not it's right to review someone's work when they're not here, right? Because I feel like, oh no, I missed it, right? I'd rather they like, oh yeah, I made it. Yeah, we waited for you. It's all good. It's not an inconvenience. I just think it's polite. I'm sure he'll tell you no apology necessary. To the person who thought she was like a hedonist, I wouldn't say that. She doesn't pursue pleasure, but rather just acts more moment to moment, almost on a whim, over whatever she's feeling at the time, like a classical nihilist. Oh, Yuli, I see. Thank you, program reviews. The revision process is to understand where you have put too many words when you can cut down to the image, right? Really become immediate what it is you're trying to say. What appeals to you about the process of writing poetry, English degree boy? What keeps you coming back? When I first tried to apply for the master's program in college, I wanted to be a fiction writer. I wanted to write short stories, right? Because I thought I always wanted to be an author when I grew up, because I thought that the reason I was able to grow up the way I did was because of these authors that had written these beautiful, gorgeous, and like engrossing stories when I was young. The things that kept me from feeling alone during those days of nobody wanting to talk to me, nobody being able to relate to me, of my parents working so hard at both of their jobs when I was alone and the only companions I had were books. That is what saved me as a child, I would say. More than TV, more than going outside, it was books. And that's why I always loved going to the library. Because as isolated as I was, the stories I read full of these wonderful, colorful characters is what kept me coming back and taught me the value of words. When I stayed in bed at night and waited for my father to come and join me and pull a book off the shelf and read me in English, slightly broken, but still as best he could. Every single word I hung on as he read me to sleep the stories of little things that only mattered to kids like me. And I carried that with me all the way to an adult. And I thought to myself, one day I want to be an author. One day I want to help out kids who were like me, who felt too alone to ever think I could ever make friends. When I was in middle school, my middle school teacher expressed that they like poetry, and the first poem I ever wrote was probably when I was in elementary school, when I learned about structured poems like diamond poems and haikus and simple things like that, where it wasn't that hard. I could do it even as like a kid. And I felt inspired, and I remember the way the words were so naturally chained together in ways that were sonorous, that in ways that painted the world in pictures that only I could see. And I wanted to share that with other people, to have them see the world as I saw it and see it as something beautiful and full of potential. And I remember emailing my teacher at the time in middle school, and they would encourage me and say, like, I love your poems. And then I forgot about it for a while. All right, I got busy. I stopped writing poetry until maybe late high school or college, when I started having these feelings, not sure what to do with them. I avoided trauma in high school like the plague. I didn't want that to poison my high school experience, right? And yet, sometimes there were times when my friends would go through these things and I would have these feelings and experiences. I'm not going to say I was an empath. Maybe it was just that I felt bad for them, because I didn't feel bad for everybody, just the people I knew. But there were certain times when I just thought, that's just fucked up. That's not okay. That's when I started writing again. And at some point, I realized I'd written all these poems, and in college, I just never stopped. The words would just keep coming, especially when I kept reading. I kept reading these amazing writers that had these beautiful ideas about life and taught me things that I could never think of on my own, right? History and human experiences, injustices that I would never even turn my eyes to look at, because it was all the way on the other side of the world, where it was outside of my peripheral vision, outside of my understanding, and made me realize how privileged I was to lead the life I was living. That reminded me that my parents came from a war-torn country, of a world that doesn't exist anymore because 1975 ruined the memories that they had as children, that tore apart the families that they had and forced them to say goodbye to people on the other side of an entire ocean, to go through so much in so little time, only to survive and have me in this country now that is more my home than will ever be the small nation that has become something alien and yet not necessarily bad. It taught me these things from reading these people. And the poems just kept coming, and I kept writing. Eventually, I was about to graduate, and my professor asked me, do you plan to apply to the master's program? And I said yes, actually. Maybe it was partly because I couldn't figure out quite what I wanted to do yet, but also because I thought, while I'm here, why not do it? My parents gave me this opportunity, so why not? So I tried to see, right, you could apply to be a master's in creative writing, but you had to pick one of the concentrations between fiction, nonfiction, or poetry, etc. And I tried to apply under fiction, but when I went through my drafts, I realized I'd hardly written anything. I was always the type of person to be up and about doing who knows how many things. I had too many hobbies, joined too many clubs, and the only times that I ever had for writing were so short that poetry was really the only thing that fit, right? And as I looked over my work, I said, okay, I have nothing for short stories. I have nothing for fiction. Let me look at what I've written for poetry. And when I reviewed that, I went through all these pages and I realized, oh my God, I'd written so much. The poetry just came so naturally. The words just fit together. And at one point, I realized that, yeah, I write poetry. It's just, it's more I have more of. And so I applied for that and I got in. But it wasn't until one night when I was outside of the door of the office of my professor, who was in charge of the master's program of creative writing. I was standing outside the hallway, dimly lit fluorescent lights in an empty building because it was after hours, after dark, and the college, and everybody had went home except for me and the professor. And as I waited for them to finish, right, because they were gathering their things at the end of the day, I remember standing there in the hallway, and I just came to the realization, right? I don't know what led me to it. I don't remember what it was. But at some point, it was a very simple idea. I'm a poet because there's nothing else I could be. Not necessarily that there was other things that I did not want to do. No, there were so many things I want to do. But poetry was just one of those things I could not give up. Poetry was one of those things that just came to me. Poetry is just something I do. I'm a poet because there's nothing else I could be. It was part of me now, part of my identity. And that's why the words kept coming. Sure, I have dry spells. Sure, there are days where I just don't feel like writing anything. But when it comes, when the words start to flow, that's how they come. Through poems. Sure, I can still write prose. Sure, if I tried hard enough, I could write articles and all these other things. I can write anything because I have that ability. But it's the poems that come naturally. It's the poems that interest me because you could do so much with them. They defy labels and they defy categories because poems are so malleable, so intrinsic to the human experience that we forget what it's like to make art of words. We forget what it's like to paint our lives using nothing more than our voices. And it's beautiful. It's terrible. It's full of emotion. It's full of challenges, curious little things. And it's connected me with so many people. It's taught me a lot about life. And part of my life mission, in a sense, even if I can't make money off of it, is to share with people that poetry is something beautiful. It's something that anybody could do. And it's something that will open your life in ways that you could never imagine. To see the world differently. To really, truly pay attention. To hone your senses and really open your eyes to what's going on around you. To see those injustices, to see those differences, to embrace all that life has to offer and really come to the conclusion that there is more to life than just yourself. And I might be talking out of my ass. I might just be saying things. People call me eloquent. They say I have a voice. But honestly, I'm just another person, and you have a voice as much as me. And anybody can learn to say the same things I am. But how you feel about these things and how you express them are yours and yours alone. So I hope that you never forget that. And if you've never written poetry, if you've never listened to it, I hope you give it a chance. It might not be for you. It might not be how your mind works. But in a sense, for me, it's like math. I was never very good at it. But I had a good teacher. I learned the beauty in it and how to appreciate it. And that goes for so many different things in life. So yeah, I'm a poet because there's nothing else I could be and nothing else I'd rather do. There you go. Funny mini story, but I was asking for clothing designs from Elena, and everyone I asked gave me purposefully light and almost lewd clothing as a joke, so I'm gonna just do it. Bandage bra and loincloth with the shorts it is. So there you go. Look up ABBA from Guilty Gear. Favorite authors? Funny enough, I really like Roald Dahl, despite how problematic he is as a person. I also really like Cornelia Funk, F-U-N-K-E, because she also has a way of crafting these worlds so brilliantly and so lightheartedly that pulls you in. Yuli is meant to look regal and unmoving with her decorated armor covered in silky cloth. Umlaut is a mixture of classic Chinese and modern American bureaucracy outfit. Circa is meant to look like a comfy and warm excessive outfit. Kienska is actually based off my first Persona's outfit, my original planned transition outfit. Melena's more light clothing is kind of a joke, but also fits her story, so I'm gonna keep it. Oh, as well, so I kept it. Something to consider, by the way, program of use, is how clothing is influenced by the world around them. Like, world building, right? Why do they dress like that? Because sometimes you'll throw it out like this is just what they wear because it suits who they are as characters. But think about the circumstances about their fashion choices, right? Does it extend from their culture? Or is it something else, right? Where do these trends of clothing come from in the world, right? Are they from different nations, or are there just like different fashion styles? If you're going to go as far as describing them and keep world building, that's something to consider as well. I guess that makes sense then. I wish anything came naturally to me in that way. He had a Jodorowsky moment, like when they asked him why he makes art and he went on like for 40 minutes. I just decided to tell a story, that's all. But now I have to look up that. Is it embarrassing to do that? Is it wrong? I don't know. Or were you just impressed? Either way, right? Chilean French avant-garde filmmaker known for his films El Topo, The Holy Mountain, and Santa Sangre. Jodorowsky has been venerated by cult cinema enthusiasts for his work, which is filled with violently surreal images and a hybrid blend of mysticism and religious provocation. Dropping out of college, he became involved in theater, in particular mime, working as a clown before founding his theater troupe, Teatro Mimico, in 1947. I did consider that as well. Circa as a trainee, Kienz got it from her upbringing. Yuli got it custom made since she had the money to do so. Interesting. That's like something that artists don't do anymore. You mean talking about their art? I struggle to do anything. The only time I feel struggle less to write is when I have a field to work out. My poems are like polyx, kinetic catharsis. I see that, but there are, if you want to call it that, I think you go even further. I think you could really stretch. Don't just play with words. Play with even the placement of the words. The whole page is your canvas. Place words wherever you like, right? See how it works for you. Experiment. Like in length, I see. I don't know. The truly great artists of my time that I've ever met all were able to do this thing where they were just able to talk so much about what they loved. And it's something I found myself able to do so as well, which might be why I've been acknowledged. Who knows? But I don't like to think of myself as special, because I think that to do so would be disingenuous to my craft, as well as disrespectful to those who came before me, right? There is a difference between hubris and self-love. I am confident in myself, and I value who I am, but I will not put myself above others just because I'm good at something, right? People can think of that. People can think of others as better. People can pursue the path of greatness, but to be so, what's the word? Blunt isn't quite it either. Full of yourself, right? Use the words you have when you don't have the words that you're looking for. When you're so full of yourself to the point where you got a big head and you start thinking of yourself as better, that's where like you enter this realm of like the art begins to lose its meaning. You stop pursuing art for the sake of making something great because you've already thought of yourself as great, and you simply make things because you think you're better or trying to show off. You've lost the pursuit of art in the pursuit of yourself, in my opinion. Because where mastery really happens is when the self in some way is forgotten. The craftsman only focuses on the work. The work speaks for itself, right? In some ways, we are mouthpieces for the work that we create. My work speaks through me. My work comes from me, but I am not my work, and my work is not me. Right? This is why I am able to leave my work in the world and let it take on a life of its own. It will outlast me. One day, people will come and read the things I make, and they will be able to infer their own meaning from it. They will be able to derive a different experience. Or maybe they will understand things as I lay them out. Either way, though, I'm like, I won't be around for that. Or maybe I will be around, but I won't be there for their experience with my work. And in some ways, they connect to me. I become a ghost to them in their lives as they are to me, right? I described a traveling musician in this project I have and came up with a pretty loud outfit. Some might think it's silly, but I felt like it fits. Might be interesting. My poem. Oh, I already read that. Flashback to 5-hour Jeff Kaplan interview. I already know how to do this. One thing I love to do is pull from my old stories, put into this one. I have a lot of finished stuff and entire written books that I haven't been able to share, but it does lead to funny moments. So, I mean, that just means you have so much content and material to work with. That's exciting stuff, really, right? You have the content. Now you just need to hone it. You need to really just refine it. That's what you're doing. You've mined up the material, right? The exciting part is really polishing it into diamonds or whatever else. Art Yap is always so interesting, though. The stream needs an Art Yap segment. That could be your taking calls or a segment, Art Yap. Interesting idea. Hayao Miyazaki. Sometimes I wonder if the Ghibli guy is that, which would be ironic considering the themes of the movies. Miyazaki is an interesting case, right? Whereas many people love what they do. From what I hear, Miyazaki hates his craft in a way, right? And he cautions anyone from going down it. I don't really know how his mind works, but it's interesting. It takes all kinds, right? Hi, Ryo. Good evening. Good to see you. He hates making movies and can't help himself? Right. Well, and the difference here is that I like what I do. And this is just what I do. I hate my craft too. And what do you do? Art? I get it. It's like how I play Hearthstone. Like, do I like Hearthstone? Kind of. Do I hate Hearthstone? In some ways, yes. But it's complicated. At the same time, though, it's just something I do. Interesting, right? I guess I should... Well, I'm going to be highlighting this whole thing anyway, but maybe I might make a segment of just that much. I hate making things, but I'm always trying to make things despite being shit at making things. If it really just be like that sometimes. I don't know. Worker, what's rule 1 of my chat? I think it's like you hate it enough to keep doing it out of spite. That's another way of looking at it for sure. I wonder if it's some kind of perfectionism thing for Miyazaki. I want to look him up more now. The interviews are so fascinating about Miyazaki. Speaking of different languages and cultures, have you guys been paying attention to Twitter and the fact that like the auto translation has led to a lot more like bubbles of language starting to intersect and cross? Like I heard, right, there was a whole discourse between Japanese speakers and English speakers in America talking about piracy. How in Japanese culture, right, piracy is like evil. Don't do that. It hurts the company, etc. Never do that. Respect the companies. And Americans are like, fuck that. Piracy is great. Why? Because, you know, we need games. And the Japanese argue back, but if you do that, how will the company make money? And the Americans are like, they don't. That's the thing. Because they don't sell us the game anymore. So we have to go find it ourselves, etc. The arguments go back and forth. And we're also getting this other thing of like, for example, there's this whole bit. If you guys didn't know, the Avatar: The Last Airbender movie that's supposed to be coming out got leaked and it's being held hostage by hackers, whatever. But there were some clips from it, and in one of those clips, there's an adult Zuko, which is like the Fire Lord's son and all that, grown up, and apparently he's really hot. And everybody in every single language wants to fuck that guy. And it's been very, very funny seeing how many people are shaking hands through translations. Essentially, Twitter has become the new Tower of Babel thanks to the new auto translation feature, and I think it's just so funny. There's also the fact that the translation app changes depending on what country you're from and the way that translates, right? I'm getting called out for Rule 1 a lot, but I'm innocent. Are you now? Right? I'll give passes to I'm still learning. I might not be that good at it yet. But The moment you start to cross lines saying, I'm so shit, my work is never worth anything, you're disrespecting yourself. You are discounting the work that you put into the craft that you do. And I don't really appreciate that because, once again, I don't like you treating yourself badly in my space. You can go shit on yourself on your own time. Don't do it around me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. Right? Treat yourself well in front of me at the very least. Because at least then maybe you might learn something about self-respect. I feel, to be honest, I hate drawing, but I love getting better at it. Yeah. It's like cooking. I hate it, but some days when eating, I feel like I could have done better, so I begrudgingly go home and cook. My mom does the same thing. She always says, I hate cooking, but she cares about how good it tastes. Because she was like, does it taste all right? Does it taste all right? I'm like, yes, mom, because she damn cooks well. I don't know how she does it, right? It's one of those things. Like, they hate doing it, but they're pretty damn good at it because they've been doing it for so long. I get it. I think I hate making things because I love making things so much. Well, there you go, right? That's how you know you're deep into it, because you've learned to hate your craft in a way that makes you grow closer to it. Oh my god, he's hot. There you go. Growing up with Avatar is so strange. Like, damn, the glow up is real, right? Man, there are some wild things people have been saying about these characters. I cannot share them here, but just know that whatever your wildest fantasies are, people are out there saying it out loud for you. It's like, damn, they said it for me. But yeah, I'm wondering if it should be a short stream today. Sometimes I'll write a poem and I realize I'm not sure if this is what I really want to write right now. You know what I mean? It all comes with, like, hearing something inspiring and then just going from there. I feel like I need to go read some poetry. Right? I'm going to read the first thing that comes up. Poem of the day. Sure. Descendant by C. Dale Young. Not as some believe from the word Genesis, the word gene came from the Greek genos, meaning origin, or more specifically, birth. The two words sprang from the same source, both a kind of instruction on how things came to be. Both gene and Genesis mask the magic of the everyday world by the mere act of naming. So the church fathers carefully instructed us. On both sides of my family, I descend from witches. One a curandera, who was skilled at herbs and making tonics. The other a woman who felt she was the equal of men and therefore had to be burned at the stake. This explains a great deal. Having survived 2 health scares in 2 years, a friend asked me quite seriously if I have magic in my family. I said no for fear of where the conversation would lead. Friendships rarely survive these kinds of conversations. You can discuss anxiety, infidelity, but never the occult. Funny how I have always seen the curandera as a bruja, but rarely think of the one burned at the stake. To be that bold, to see oneself as equal, is that not a powerful kind of magic? I am not sure. But to live against all odds, to walk through this world instead of crawling because told to crawl? Yes, a dark and powerful magic. When told I would die within months from a tumor, to which one do you think I prayed? That's quite the ending of a line. Your call? About what again? I do know the medal I'm seeking as an artist is people making Rule 34 my characters. That's a good goal. Look up the guy who did Helltaker then, because his whole goal was, I just want to see more demon girls in suits. And he did it. He did it. I have to find something to do though. It should be a short stream. It's already been 3 hours. My regular streams are 4. He's improved his time perception from his earlier years. I mean, in some ways yes, in some ways no. I need some shape language for the fur pattern and hairstyle of Milena, my character. Anyone in chat got an idea? Women's hairstyles, huh? Well, everyone always goes to like wolf cut, but who knows, right? Think about how hair communicates based on how neat it is or how wild it is, and think about it like that. Is she wild or is she more in line? Things like that, right? Does it shape or does it match your outfit, etc.? Okay, next time what? I'm bringing more money to buy food outside. Oh, I see. No, I didn't have no money for the curry. Oh, I see. Ran out of cash? No, it's for curry. Nice. Oh no, Van Ripper is based like that. I agree. Helltaker and Alwaria were both bangers. I agree. I had to go outside on a hot fucking day, and I didn't want to go back empty-handed. Yeah, all right. I've heard of the idea of the mat syllabary. You are very more well-informed than I am. The mat method. Let's take a look. Holy hell, all right. Didactics in reading and writing, the mat method. Might have to do this real quick. Oh my god, it's so fucking bright. Never mind, turn it back on. Never mind, I can't even fucking read it without it. Okay. Introduction. The origin of reading predates that of writing. Even in prehistory, the man felt the need to communicate, although he did not do it through letters. If he did it through drawings or cave paintings, which they attributed to a meaning. 3,500 years BC in Egypt, hieroglyphs appear, a word that means to chisel or engrave. This is possibly the writing system más avanzado para ese tiempo, donde solamente sacerdotes, miembros de la royalty, high officials, and scribes knew the art of reading and writing, taking advantage of those sacred signs for that purpose. However, the evolution of graphical evidence is decisive in the development of reading. Since always the need for man to communicate has been imperative, and even more so the learning to read and write, for which she has had to invent appropriate and effective methods for this throughout its history. Before this privileged era of some... Nope. Currently, globalization ICTs are provided us with a variety of techniques, strategies, and courses to learn. Nevertheless, it is necessary to select the appropriate methodology for each individual according to their skills and learning styles, which is when a method becomes truly effective. I don't think I'm getting the answers I'm looking for here. Suonova, hello, welcome in. Hello. This playlist is about to be over very soon. I just went to McDonald's and bought curry sauce chicken fillet. Nice. Oh, here it is. You explained it for me. Maybe one day I too will be able to make cool little games like that. Maybe. I always like seeing the hairstyle unkempt in games. The word is amusing. Unkempt is a fun word. It's a method for teaching reading and writing at the same time. The focus is on building connections between sound, spelling, and meaning through simple, repeatable units. Take the sound I as a core unit. I, E, Y, E, E, Y, E, E, Y, E. Combination is built from the sound I, E, E, I. Example words: I, my, fly, light, sky. Yeah. My brain can only bring up Sonic OCs right now for some reason, and I hate it. Milena is too somber for that. Once again, consume what you wish to create. Go seek out what it is that you want, and references will be available to you. I also wonder how Coke Zero can just have zero sugar. I mean, if you really think about it, Murdoch, diet soda is really just soda flavored sparkling water. What shape language really explains a character who feels like they are winning despite the twists and turns, but will inevitably watch as everything she loves collapses in a second, everything she did turning out to be against her all this time. It reminds me of a certain character that is lazy because of the fact that she once failed so hard that she lost everything. So these days she tries to do nothing. There's a character like that in a certain game I play. So Nova felt lonely doing some headcanons writing, so came here for some co-working writing. Hello, welcome in. Well, we do that, but we also end up yapping. But sometimes the yapping leads to inspiration, so there's that too, I guess. But welcome in, good to have you. After this, think of the poems of Vicente Huidobro. You can read several lines and verses at once, almost like reading sheet music, hearing choruses of voices in your head, or seeing words as drawings. In that sense, reading becomes simultaneous and visual. I agree with that. Yulia is gray with very round appearance, with larger proportions show that she is such a massive force in story, as well as someone who chose to be good despite the grinding world. I see. Anyways. That's true. Well, you have me curious. Vicente. I should probably type in poems, not poemas, otherwise I'm only gonna get the Spanish versions of them. I'll tell you what, we'll take one more ad break, and then when we come back, I'll read some of this because you've recommended it. Something tells me I'm gonna like it though. Found out Venom is a baker. That's true. He is. He retired and became a baker. At night though, he's a vigilante. But yeah, we'll be right back after these messages, everybody. Use this time to go use the restroom, get some water, go take a break, go get some air, go do what you gotta do. And I'll see you after these messages. Welcome back. Hope you had a good ad break. So, these are poems by Vicente Huidobro, translated by Johannes Belhars. Belhars? Either way. Anyways, to answer your question, program of use, I said a half circle pointed downward, right? As in the flat part is on top and the curved part's on the bottom. And I thought about it as a way of like, it's like a boat that rocks back and forth. If you ever tip it to one side too far, then it leans and spills over everything that if you were to try and put anything on top of it. And try missing half circles and rounded triangles. Round enough to be more mellow show, but structured enough to show her belief in her belief. Yeah, I think that's a good idea as a motif, you know? Wait, I'm waiting. From his aesthetic and certain wind quotes, I thought he was a jerk, but he's actually really nice. Yeah, Venom is probably one of the nicest characters around because he actually used to be a professional assassin. He's really, he was really good at his job, but he didn't want to keep doing it. So now he's retired. Would it be called a triangle if there's no corners? I mean, it's triangle shaped, which is close enough. He's nice till Milia shows up. Well, you know, as long as there's 3 sides, I guess. Well, no. Definition of triangle is 3 sides and 3 angles, right? 3 angles that are acute. Well, not even actually. No, you're right. Just 3 sides. What am I saying? There's right triangles and then like there's obtuse angles and all of that. But anyways. We're gonna need some more water. Give me a second. Poems by Vicente Huidobro. Night. You hear the night glide across the snow. The song fell down from the trees and through the fog sounded voices. I lit my cigar at a glance. Every time I open my lips, I flood the void with clouds. In the harbor, the masts are full of nests, and the wind groans in the birds' wings. The waves rock the dead ship. Whistling on the shore, I look at the star that glows between my fingers. Noche. Eklog. Sun about to die, the car broken down, and a smell of spring remains as the air sweeps by. Somewhere, a song. Where are you? One afternoon much like this, I looked for you in vain. In the fog covering the roads, I kept finding myself. And in the smoke of my cigar, a lost bird. Nobody answered. The last pastors drowned, and the stray sheep ate flowers and did not give honey. The wind that went by piles up their wool, between the clouds holding my tears. Why cry once more about what I've cried already? And since the sheep eat flowers, signs that you went by. Egloga. Hours. A small town. A train stopped on the plain. Deaf stars sleep in every puddle, and the water trembles. Curtains to the wind. Night hangs in the grove, a lively drizzle from the flower-covered steeple bleeds the stars. Now and then, ripe hours drop on life. Horas. Spanish is a beautiful language, I gotta say. This formatting is cool, but it makes my brain itchy. Yes, this is the type of formatting I was trying to tell you about. Like, you can experiment. Like, some writers really do just do things. And when I first encountered this, I was just like, oh my god, you could just do that? Like, you could just place words around and see what happens, right? Like, it really does impact the poetry differently. It makes your brain fragment in how you interpret the content. I've noticed my lines getting shorter and shorter the longer I've been writing. I don't know why. I mean, who knows? It might be something you're trying. What are we reading? Just sent way too long multiple messages about someone asking about what it's like needing a caregiver. They're considering getting one. I see. I'm reading by poems by Vicente Huidobro, who Raimundo recommended. El Tesor is the poem where he goes crazy with experimentation. Let's take a look. Let's see. PDF, huh? Okay, this is the entirety of his work. And it's all in Spanish. Is El Tesor the name of the collection or a specific poem itself? Right? Gotta bend the brain worker. Malleable equals growth. It reminds me of actually video game dialogue. Actually, never mind. I can't say that. I'll get in trouble again. Fair enough. It's true. Treat yourself better. Each line is placed in certain ways. It's a book with 7 cantos. Yeah, I just saw that. I translated one? Wow. Interesante. I don't know if I can read the whole thing, unfortunately, right now, but it's still interesting stuff. Whenever I say cantos, I just think of Limbus. I know. Canto 1, Canto 2, etc. By the way, on a different note, I think one of the most difficult things I ever had to learn when it came to poetry and writing in general was how to move from the world of the internal to the external, right? It's easy, actually, for a lot of people to be in tune with yourself. That is to say, you know how you feel and you know how to express yourself, right? It's something that comes with teenage angst, I would say. Not everyone's good at this. Some people are better at writing outside of themselves, right? There's 2 different worlds out there. But I'm saying that moving from talking about yourself to really writing about the world outside of yourself is difficult, at least for me, right? Learning to pay attention to what's going on in the world and how to write about that, how to move people to action, how to really study what happens in society, in nature, and other things like that, right? That's difficult, right? How do I paint this picture for you? It's easy, right, to understand how I feel. It's another thing entirely to talk about what's outside of me. For some people, it comes more naturally. And for those people, maybe it might be harder to talk about their own feelings because they've never experienced introspection before, right? Introspection can be scary. Hey Gamba, Bronze Swamp be reading with a paintbrush. This is true, metaphorically speaking. As Guidobro said in poem, why do you sing of the rose, O poets? Make it bloom in the poem. Posting a sort of showing a possible shape language for Milena in general chat, does it show internal strength or is it saying too much external strength? Howdy Skyfer, what's up? Welcome in. Oh, hey, nice art. Let's see. I like the upper part of the shape. I think the lower part needs some more. Like, I think you should settle on... I like the idea of the rounded triangles, though, being the motif. Although the lower end of the hair feels too much like... Well, actually, if you want to do icicles, you could do that. But I think the back of the hair in just like one round circle, though, it feels a little flat. Lacks personality. So keep workshopping, but I like the directions heading in. If anything, I think the tail would help you figure out the shape of the hair in a way, because it follows that same kind of convention.
For no reason in particular, make the next from about bird or berry either are acceptable.
Nice try, little fat ass, but I'm not doing that. But yeah, it might be time to get out of here. I don't know how else to put it.
Yo, is that stole program current page of the comic? Wow, sad. Suddenly the UFO ambushes and destroy Lebert for spoiler. Oh God, have maybe a kaboom.
All right then. I've been having doubts about playing him, but he opened his bakery on my birthday, so I'm committing. Sorry for repost. All good. Oh, actually, thank you for reposting. Actually, I totally missed that part. Let me scroll up. How did I miss that? I don't even see the message. How'd that happen? Either way. North Kid 2, thank you for raiding with a party of 12. Welcome in, Raiders. Hello, my name is Francois Modern Day Bard at your service, your one-stop shop for poetry, performance, and pleasantries. When I'm not playing fighting games, you can usually find me reading, writing, and sometimes I might even sing you a song. Hey, welcome in. Hey, Tyler. Hey, North Kid. What's up? What's good, Big Ron? Hey, Type Jazz. Hope you had a great time playing Guilty Gear Strive. Raiders, if you gotta go, you gotta go. Please do get some rest, otherwise feel free to stick around. Now y'all know where to find me. On my Skype, hello, welcome in. North Kid won't let me do his taxes. Okay, are you officially accredited as a tax, what's it called? A tax preparer? Right? I got a drink, not gonna lie. Water, of course. I would let you. It was during the break. Oh, I see. So right around, let's see here. Here it is. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I'm having my doubts about playing him, but open his bakery on my birthday, so I'm committing. Yeah. Hope you enjoy playing Venom then. North Kid, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Thank you again for the Reddit. Thank you for entrusting your community with me. And I appreciate the follow. Funny enough, by the way, I think that brings us up to 3,440 followers. Wowee. Uncapping the pan cooldown for 30 seconds. Well. Alright, here we go. You have 30 seconds, alright, to drop as many pans as you like. Starting. Not yet. Ow, gold pan. Congratulations. Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. 30 seconds. Ow, ow, gold pan, congratulations. Oh, man. Ow, oh, 2 gold pans, congratulations. Ow. Ow. Oh, my God. Ow, ow, gold pan, congratulations. Ow, ow. Stop it. Ow. Surely you must be out of points. Ow. Okay, enough of that. We're past it. We're past. Ow. Ow, gold pan. Okay, I'm stopping it. I'm stopping it. No, no more. Ow. Stop it. Ah. No. Please. All right, it's gone. It's done. The cooldown's back on. Okay. You okay? Don't worry, my head is made of good stuff. Hard stuff, even. My head is made of durable things. Ow. Nice try. I see. I redeemed it. I couldn't even find the redeem. Whoops. Oh well. Anyways, what is the pan? Well, now you see it. Funny joke, instead of a frying pan, make it bread. Frying pan, like pan dulce. Do you have insurance? I do. Well, I have public insurance. I don't have it covered for my job. Radhead. Oh my god. One more pan? I guess a bunch more will do. How much protection does that hat provide? Enough. What if you make it sharp pieces of glass? I would die. Okay. Run check redeems. Oh. You want to uncap it for another 30 seconds, worker? Alright. Ready, another 30 seconds on the clock. Are you ready? In 3, 2, 1, go. Oh my god. Ow, gold pan. Congratulations. Ow, ow, gold pan. Congratulations. Ow. Ah, 2 golden pans. Ow, stop it. No. Ah, 2 gold. Ah. Come on. Ow. I saw 2 more in there. Ow. Oh my. Please. Ah. No, it's too many. It's too hard. Ah. No. Stop it. Ah. No. Stop it. No more. Ah. Ah. No. Are you done? I'm out of points. Repeat the brain damage. That was 5 in a row. Lucky you. Congratulations, everybody. That cooldown isn't doing anything. That's because it was off. Do the pans get hurt? No. One more for the road? That's up to you. What did it, guys? Not bad. Just think about the bangs in the front, that's all. But I like the back of the hair better. You know? If anything, maybe the bangs need to also just be more of the same from like the back. Try it out, see how you like it. And draw the head with the face on it too to see if that works for you. If anything, maybe it belongs in the art channel. Because it is your art. Okay. My message got buried twice by pans. I don't think so. I saw your redesign. We did it, guys. I was wondering why the UI redeem didn't work. It's because the sirens are going on. I'm dumb then? I mean, I just said about the design. I just was preoccupied, that's all. Someone blow me up. No, I don't think we will. You're gonna have to live with your actions, that's all. Boom. Rest in peace, my granny. She got hit by a bazooka. Now I think about her every time I hit the hookah. Kaboom. Kablow. Oh. Kaboom. Kablow. Exclamation mark kaboom. Are supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom. Let me see. Oh my, stop it. Ow. Hey, look at you. It's a gold pan. Alright, let me see who's live right now. I kind of want to wrap up and go rest for the night. You know what I mean? I've had a week, and I would like to just unwind for a bit. I think this would be a fun stream to go into, but let me double check. Who is probably not going to end anytime soon? You did get a lot of pans dropped on you. That's true. You need that rest after all those pans. That's true. I need to nurse my fucking head. As you do after taking a lot of external trauma. But you know. As you do, as you do. Alright. I've decided where I would like to go. Wait, hold on. Never mind. I've decided. I know where I want to go. Because it's where I would like to chill. Well, actually, no. I want to make sure the energy... I was about to raid you guys, and I was like, the energy doesn't match. There's a comically large bump under that hat. You don't know that. I paid for that. Oh, come on. Don't let me forget. Not tonight if you're trying to wind down. I don't want to talk at you about something when you got some time. Well, if I know where you're going to be after this, then I'll probably just meet you there later. And then after that, you can yap my ear off there. It's tough. I want to raid you guys into somewhere chill, but also just want to chill in certain places that aren't always the same. What's the word? Vibe, I guess, if that makes sense. I'm thinking about it. Word. I'll tell you what. I feel like singing a song before I leave you guys today. Give me a second. I gotta fight your Anji next time around. You know where to find me, what time. Although, if that time doesn't work for you, just let me know. You know, and I'll go find you instead. But as you do. Oh, almost forgot this thing. There it is. Don't be that way, fall apart twice a day. I just wish you could feel what you say. Show, never tell, but I know you too well. Kind of move that you wish you could sell. If teardrops could be bottled, there'd be swimming pools filled by models. So the tight dress is what makes you a whore. If I love you was a promise, would you break it if you're honest? Tell the mirror what you know she's heard before. I don't wanna be you anymore. It's getting cold, losing feelings, getting old. Was I made from a broken mold? Hurt, I can't shake. We've made every mistake. Only you know the way that I break. If teardrops could be bottled, there'd be swimming pools filled by models. So the tight dress is what makes you a whore. If I love you was a promise, would you break it if you're honest? Tell the mirror what you know she's heard before. I don't wanna be you. I don't wanna be you Should we get out of here, or do you want one more? One more. Uno más. Encore. Ah! Up to you, Singy boy. Oh, I guess you're going home, worker. I guess you didn't want more, so I'm just gonna leave you. One more. One with a one. Yeah. Sing the Big Bang Theory theme? I don't know well enough to do that, sorry. Bazinga. Can you sing Kanye? Even if I wanted to, I have mixed feelings about Kanye. The infinite one. You want me to sing Drift? I'm not singing Drift right now, bro. Here, I'll give you this one. Using ultimate, no, damn. We cancel Yi here? I didn't say cancel. I just have mixed feelings, that's all. Sing us a lullaby, go sleepies too. Try this then. You were here before. No, higher. Can look you in the eye. Thank you. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. Thank you, gents. You flow like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so very special. But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to notice when I'm not around. Oh, you're so very special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. Whatever makes you happy, whatever you want. You're so very special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a what the hell am I doing here? I don't belong Thank you very much. The guitar string scratch, love it. It was a good karaoke track for sure. I just forgot to ask this. I'll wait till the end of the stream. We are all special in and out in our own ways for real. We do a good sing. Comes with experience. But yeah, let's get the heck out of here, guys. One, two, three, four. All right. I'll rate this place. I sure hope he isn't ending. 5, 6, 7. There's only 5 ways. 6, 7. Today for you. I love you. Thanks for the stream. Thanks everybody for coming. I really appreciate it. All right. If anyone's good with combat RPs, please message me. They can give me ideas for how characters will use their abilities creatively. Or read a manga. Or a novel, I guess. Either way, follow me. Over here. Hit it. Oh, whoops, I had my breather on. But thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for being you and being creative and doing whatever it is you do. You guys are what make the stream what it is. If you're watching the VOD, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come see me. Hopefully I get to see you live one of these days. And as for the rest of you, we're rating Burner VT. Burner is really cool. Burner is currently playing Pokemon Champions. Burner is really interesting, very cool guy. I like him a lot. There's the raid message if you have the emotes. If you don't have the emotes, feel free to use the other one instead. Thank you for the assist, Murdoch. I really appreciate it. And yeah, next time you see me, it's probably not going to be tomorrow, or definitely not Sunday, I'm busy. But next time you see me should be Monday, same time as usual, in the evening sometime, playing Guilty Gear Strive. So if that floats your boat or whatever, come stop by. I'd love to have you. But yeah, that's about it for me, everybody. My name is Francois, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. See you later.